Sweat beads on Jeremiah Tate's brow as two crew members haul him down the StellarWing's gleaming aisle, his mahogany cane scraping linoleum, sparking gasps from passengers frozen in plush seats. Cassandra Holt's lips curl, spitting he's in the wrong spot because his black skin doesn't fit first class. Humiliation burns, yet Jeremiah's eyes stay calm, hiding a secret that'll shatter HorizonStar. This moment of prejudice will reshape his legacy, torching futures. What's he planning behind that steady gaze? Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more stories that demand truth. The Los Angeles sun blazed at 92 degrees Fahrenheit, baking the tarmac as Jeremiah Tate stepped off the jet bridge into HorizonStar Airlines' StellarWing, Flight 712 to New York City. His 72-year-old frame moved with measured grace, a mahogany cane clicking softly against the floor, steadying his slight limp. A faded fedora shaded his sharp brown eyes, and his wool coat, patched at the elbows, hung loose over a crisp white shirt. In his left hand, a scuffed leather satchel swung lightly, its weight betraying little beyond necessity. To the untrained eye, he was just an old man, weary from travel, blending into the stream of passengers. But Jeremiah's gaze swept the cabin with purpose, noting every chrome-trimmed seat, every holographic menu flickering above armrests. This wasn't just a flight, it was a test. The first-class cabin sparkled like a showroom, its 12 seats upholstered in midnight blue, leather, each a throne for the elite. Crystal flutes sat on polished trays, and the air carried a faint whiff of lavender from hidden diffusers. Jeremiah paused at the threshold, his ticket stub crinkling in his palm. Seat 1A, window side, first row, a spot he'd chosen deliberately. He eased into it, the cushion sighing under his slight frame. His satchel slid under the seat and he rested his cane across his lap, hands folding over its carved handle. Outside, the wing gleamed under the California haze, a silver blade slicing through heat waves. He exhaled, slow and deep, settling in for the 6-hour journey. For a moment, the world felt still. That stillness shattered with the sharp clack of heels on the cabin floor. Cassandra Holt, lead flight attendant, moved like a general inspecting her domain. Her navy blazer hugged her 45-year-old frame, gold pins glinting on her lapel. 20 years of service, zero patience for a disruption. Her blonde hair was pulled into a flawless bun, and her green eyes scanned the cabin with surgical precision. When they landed on Jeremiah, something shifted. Her lips twitched, not quite a sneer, but close enough to chill the air. A black man, in 1A? Her curated world of privilege balked. First class was for hedge fund tycoons, tech moguls, not some elderly nobody in a thrift store coat. Her stride quickened, purpose hardening her jaw. Jeremiah felt her approach before he saw it, the weight of her stare pressing against his temple. He kept his eyes on the window, counting rivets on the wing, 17, 18, until her shadow loomed over him. "Sir," she said, her voice honeyed but brittle, like glass about to crack. "This is first class. May I see your boarding pass?" The words weren't a request, they were a challenge. Passengers nearby stirred. A woman in a silk scarf lowered her tablet, eyebrows arching. A man in a pinstripe suit flicked his gaze up from his whiskey, curious but detached. Jeremiah turned slowly, meeting Cassandra's eyes. Hers were cold, searching for weakness. His were steady, unyielding, like polished obsidian. He reached into his coat pocket, fingers brushing a worn photo before finding the pass. He held it out, the paper crisp despite his calloused grip. "Here you go, ma'am," he said, voice low, each syllable deliberate. Cassandra snatched it, her manicured, nails flashing. She scanned the stub. Seat 1A, Jeremiah Tate, non-refundable, purchased 3 weeks prior. Her brow furrowed, a glitch in her reality. No error glared back, yet her smile tightened, lips thinning to a blade. She hummed, loud enough, for the scarf woman to glance again. "There's been a mix-up. This seat's reserved for priority clients." Her tone dripped with finality, as if Jeremiah's presence was a clerical error she'd personally correct. He tilted his head, just enough to signal he'd heard. My ticket says 1A, he said, calm as a still pond. Checked it twice, at the gate, no mix-up on my end. His words were polite, but they carried weight, like stones dropped into her certainty. Cassandra's eyes narrowed, a predator sizing up prey. The system reshuffles sometimes, she said, folding her arms. Happens with last-minute upgrades. You'll need to move to economy. The lie came easy. Practiced, her voice rapping, it in corporate silk. The pinstripe man sipped his drink, pretending not to listen. The scarf woman's tablet glowed brighter, her fingers hovering. Jeremiah held her gaze, unblinking. System's funny like that, he said, almost to himself. Always moving folks where they don't belong. Her smile vanished, replaced by a flush creeping up her neck. Sir, I'm not asking, she said, voice dropping to a hiss. Move, or I'll call security to assist. The threat landed like a slap, and the cabin tensed. A young attendant, Maya Brooks, 23, with tight braids and nervous eyes, hovered near the galley, clutching a tray of napkins. Her lips parted as if to speak, but Cassandra's glare pinned her in place. Maya swallowed, stepping back, her tray trembling. Jeremiah nodded once, not in surrender but calculation. No need for trouble, he said, rising slowly. His cane tapped the floor, steadying his frame as he pulled his satchel free. The leather creaked, its straps worn but firm. He stood, shoulders squared despite the ache in his knees, and faced Cassandra. Lead the way, ma'am. His voice stayed even, but his eyes flickered with something deeper, a spark she couldn't read. She turned on her heel, heels stabbing the carpet, expecting him to trail like a scolded child. The walk to economy felt like a mile, though it was only 60 feet. First-class passengers watched, some with pity, others with relief. Probably a mistake, a woman in pearls whispered to her husband. Doesn't look like he fits here, he muttered back, adjusting his cufflinks. Jeremiah heard every word, his face a mask of calm. The cabin widened into business class, then narrowed into economy's tight rows, where overhead bins sagged and legroom vanished. The air grew stale, thick with coffee breath and recycled oxygen. Cassandra stopped at row 32, seat C, A. Middle spot wedged between a snoring teenager and a woman knitting furiously. Here, she said, gesturing with a flick of her wrist like tossing scraps to a stray. The seat's cushion was thin, stained with a faint cola ring. Jeremiah lowered himself, his cane catching briefly on the armrest. His satchel fit snug, under the seat, but his knees pressed against the tray table, a dull pain flaring in his joints. Cassandra didn't linger. Enjoy your flight, she said, the words dripping venom, then strode back to her kingdom, skirt swishing like a victory flag. Jeremiah leaned back, the seat creaking under his 160 pounds. The teenager's earbuds buzzed with faint hip-hop, and the knitter's needles clicked like a metronome. He closed his eyes, not in defeat but focus, fingers tracing. The cane's handle, a carved eagle, wings spread. Outside, engines roared to life, vibrating the cabin as the plane taxied. He'd been pushed out, but this wasn't the end. It was the opening move. Up front, Cassandra returned to first class, her smile restored. She nodded to a new passenger settling into 1A, a white businessman, mid-50s, with a Rolex glinting under his sleeve. He flashed a grin, all teeth and entitlement, and raised a glass. Thanks for sorting that mess, he said, voice oily. Knew you'd keep things right. Cassandra's laugh was sharp, a blade cloaked in charm. Always do, Mr. Grayson, she replied, pouring him sparkling water. The scarf woman resumed her tablet. The pinstripe man ordered another whiskey, and the cabin settled as if nothing had happened. But something had. Maya lingered by the galley, her tray now empty, her brown eyes darting to economy's dim rows. She'd seen Jeremiah's ticket, clean, valid, no glitch. Her stomach twisted, guilt gnawing like hunger. She wanted to check, on him, to say something, but Cassandra's shadow loomed large. Maya gripped the counter, knuckles paling, and turned away, busying herself with coffee filters. She didn't know why the old man's calm unnerved her, but it did, like he was waiting for a storm only he could see. In 32C, Jeremiah opened his eyes, the cabin lights dimming for takeoff. The plane lurched, climbing through clouds, and Los Angeles shrank to a grid of gold below. His fingers tightened on his cane, not from fear but resolve. The businessman in 1A laughed too loud, his voice carrying even here. Jeremiah's jaw set firm, a muscle twitching faintly. He'd paid for that seat, not just with money, but with decades of sweat, and they'd taken it because of his skin. Fine. Let them think they'd won. He knew better. The flight stretched ahead, 5 hours and 58 minutes left, and the air felt charged, like static before lightning. Cassandra's heels clicked somewhere forward, a hunter pacing her territory. Maya's hesitation lingered, in the galley, a crack in the system's armor. And Jeremiah sat, a king in exile, his mind already mapping the moves to come. The StellarWing soared at 38,000 feet, but the real turbulence hadn't started yet. The StellarWing hummed at 38,000 feet, slicing through wisps of cloud over the Nevada desert. In economy row 32, seat C, Jeremiah Tate sat wedged between a snoring teenager and a woman whose knitting needles stabbed the air like tiny swords. The cabin smelled of stale pretzels and recycled air, a far cry from first class's lavender breeze. Jeremiah's knees ached, pressed against the tray table, but his face stayed calm, betraying nothing. His mahogany cane rested across his lap, its eagle handle cool under his palm. The humiliation of being dragged down the aisle 2 hours ago still burned, but he channeled it, eyes fixed on the seatback screen flickering with a muted ad. He wasn't here to sulk. He was here to watch. Across the cabin, Maya Brooks, the young attendant with tight braids, restocked a beverage cart in the economy galley. Her hands moved mechanically, stacking plastic cups, wiping spills, but her mind replayed the scene in first class. Jeremiah's ticket had been legit, seat 1A stamped clear as day, yet Cassandra Holt had tossed him out like trash. Maya's stomach churned, guilt twisting tighter with every clink of ice. She'd wanted to speak up, to challenge Cassandra's lie about a system glitch, but fear had glued her lips shut. At 23, this job was her lifeline. Healthcare, rent, a shot at stability. Crossing Cassandra with her 20 years of clout and a direct line to Captain Slade felt like stepping into a lion's cage. Still, Jeremiah's steady gaze haunted her, like he'd seen her silence and understood it too well. Maya glanced down the aisle, catching Jeremiah's silhouette against the dim cabin lights. He sat upright, unbothered by the teenager's snores or the knitter's elbow jabs. She grabbed a water bottle from the cart, its plastic crinkling, and wove through the rows, dodging stray backpacks. Stopping at 32C, she crouched slightly, voice barely above a whisper. "Sir, thought you might need this," she said, offering the bottle. Her brown eyes flicked nervously, half expecting Cassandra to materialize. Jeremiah looked up, his face softening just enough to ease her nerves. "Kind of you," he said, voice low, like gravel smoothed by time. He took the bottle, his fingers brushing hers briefly, calluses against her soft skin. Maya hesitated, words tumbling out before she could stop them. "What happened up there, it wasn't right. I should have said something." Her voice cracked, guilt spilling free. Jeremiah studied her, his eyes tracing the worry in her furrowed brow. "Some fights start small," he said, almost a murmur. "You're here now. That's a step." His words landed like a lifeline, light but firm. Maya nodded, throat tight, and stood, clutching the cart for balance. She didn't know why his calm felt like a shield, but it steadied her as she returned to the galley, the water bottle's absence a tiny rebellion. Jeremiah unscrewed the cap, the faint hiss lost in the engine's drone. He sipped, the water, cool against his dry throat, then set the bottle in the seat pocket. His left hand reached into his coat, pulling out a battered notebook, its leather cover cracked like parched earth. He flipped it open, revealing pages dense with neat slanted handwriting, dates, names, observations. A pen clipped to the spine gleamed faintly. He jotted a line. Flight 712 Los Angeles to New York City, April 12, 2025. Holt, C. Seat reassignment. No basis. His pen paused, then added, Brooks. M. Hesitant but aware. He closed the notebook, tucking it back inside his coat, its weight a quiet promise against his chest. In row 28, Jamal Carter, a 19-year-old black college student, slouched against the window, his hoodie bunched under his neck. His phone screen glowed, fingers scrolling X posts about airline gripes. He'd seen Jeremiah's walk, of shame, cane tapping head high despite Cassandra's smirk, and it hit close. Last summer, a mall cop had tailed him for looking suspicious, his skin the only crime. Now, watching Cassandra glide through first class, all fake smiles and clipped orders, Jamal's jaw tightened. She'd brushed off Jeremiah like he was nothing, and the cabin's silence had led her. He straightened, eyes narrowing as she paused to charm a white couple in row 4, her laugh grating like a bad sitcom. Jamal's gaze flicked to Jeremiah, still jotting in that notebook, then back to Cassandra. He pulled out his phone, thumbing the camera on. The lens caught her mid-strut, her blazer crisp, her sneer subtle as she glanced at economy's lesser rows. He recorded 10 seconds, her tossing her hair, barking at Maya to hurry up, then flashing a grin at a suited passenger. Jamal's fingers flew, uploading the clip to X with a caption. This flight attendant just kicked an old black man out of first class for no reason. HorizonStar Airlines, do better. HorizonStar bias. He hit post, the upload bar zipping as the plane's Wi-Fi cooperated. Within 3 minutes, notifications pinged. 50 likes, then 200, then 1,000. By the 10th minute, 10,000 users had seen it, retweets spreading like wildfire. Up front, Cassandra's tablet buzzed in the first-class galley, a red alert flashing. Social media anomaly detected. Keyword, HorizonStar bias. She tapped the screen, her smile fading as Jamal's video loaded. Her face stared back, caught in mid-sneer, the caption burning her eyes. Comments piled up. Disgusting. Racist much? Fire her. Her pulse quickened, a vein pulsing at her temple. She stormed to the cockpit, heels stabbing the carpet, and punched the access code. Captain Victor Slade, 52, with a gray buzz cut and a smirk that matched his aviators, lounged in the pilot's seat sipping coffee. We've got a problem, Cassandra snapped, shoving the tablet under his nose. Slade squinted at the video, chuckling low. Kid's got nerve, he said, voice thick with amusement. 10,000 views? That's nothing. PR'll bury it by morning. He leaned back, the cockpit's screens glowing green. Relax, Cass. You're untouchable. Board's got my back and I've got yours. Cassandra's lips twitched, not quite convinced. It's not just the video, she said. That old man's stirring things up. I saw him writing something. Slade's chuckle faded. Writing? What, a complaint letter? He waved it off. Let him scribble. He's nobody. Focus on the elites up front. Cassandra nodded, but unease gnawed her. She returned to the galley, eyes darting to economy. Jeremiah sat quietly, notebook gone, his water bottle half empty. He looked harmless, but that calm rattled her, like a snake coiled under a rock. She didn't know he'd felt the video's ripple, the cabin's mood shifting as phones buzzed with notifications. Passengers whispered, glancing his way. A woman in row 30 muttered, "Saw it on X. They shouldn't have moved him." Her husband nodded, scrolling his feed. Jeremiah sensed the tide turning, a spark of justice flaring. Maybe this flight wasn't lost. Maybe he'd exposed her. That hope crumbled faster than it formed. Jamal, still scrolling X, didn't notice Cassandra weaving through the rows until her shadow fell over him. "Phone," she said, hand outstretched, voice sharp enough to cut glass. Jamal blinked, caught off guard. "What?" he said, clutching his device. Cassandra's smile was ice. "Recording in-flight personnel violates security policy. Hand it over, or you're off at the next stop." Her tone brooked no argument, her gold pins glinting like a badge of execution. Jamal hesitated, then passed it over, his jaw tight. "Just don't delete anything," he said, voice low. Cassandra didn't reply. She swiped through his apps, found the X post, and tapped delete. The video vanished, 10,000 views gone in a second. She handed the phone back, her smile venomous. "Next time, mind your business," she said, turning away. Jamal stared, fists clenching, but the damage was done. His post was erased, the hashtag fading as X's algorithm moved on. Notifications slowed to a trickle. The cabin's whispers quieted, passengers distracted by drink orders and turbulence warnings. Jeremiah caught the exchange from 32C, his eyes narrowing. The spark flickered, but didn't die. Cassandra wasn't finished. She strode to the intercom, her tablet buzzing with fresh alerts, stray retweets lingering. She needed to bury this now. She pressed the mic, voice smooth as silk. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're aware of a minor disturbance circulating online. Rest assured our crew maintains the highest standards. Any disruptions will be addressed per policy." The words sounded professional, but her eyes locked on Jeremiah, a warning carved in her stare. She hung up, satisfied, then leaned toward Maya in the galley. "Keep an eye on row 32, she hissed. "He's trouble." Maya nodded, her heart sinking. She didn't dare look at Jeremiah, but his water bottle flashed in her mind, a small gesture now dwarfed by Cassandra's wrath. Jeremiah, meanwhile, felt the cabin's mood shift back, passengers settling into apathy. His notebook stayed hidden, but his mind raced. The video was gone, but eyes were watching. He'd planted a seed, however small. He leaned back, the seat creaking, and closed his eyes. Not in surrender, but strategy. Let her think she'd won. Cassandra's tablet buzzed again, this time with a direct message from Slade. "PR's on it. Stay sharp." She smiled, confidence creeping back. But as she poured champagne for row 4, a new alert pinged, an anonymous X account reposting a screenshot of Jamal's caption, minus the video. 500 likes already. Her smile faltered. Back in 32C, Jeremiah's fingers traced his cane's eagle, a faint rhythm like a pulse. The flight had 4 hours left, and Cassandra's move had only raised the stakes. She'd silenced one voice, but others were stirring, and Jeremiah was counting on it. Her next blow came swift and brutal. She returned to the intercom, voice now edged with steel. "Attention, please. Due to reports of passenger misconduct, we'll conduct additional checks upon landing. A male in economy, row 32, has been flagged for inciting disruption. Authorities will meet us at JFK." Gasps rippled through the cabin. The knitter paused, needles hovering. The teenager woke, earbuds dangling, staring at Jeremiah. "What did he do?" he muttered. The woman in 30 whispered, "Told you he was trouble." Jeremiah's eyes opened, meeting Cassandra's from 60 feet away. Her gaze was a blade, his a shield. "Misconduct?" he said softly, to no one. His grip tightened, not on fear, but resolve. The cabin turned hostile, eyes boring into him, but he didn't flinch. He'd faced worse than stares. Decades of doors slammed, dreams crushed, all for his skin. This was just another round. Cassandra thought she'd caged him, but she didn't know the bars were hers. The plane droned on, 3,000 miles from New York, and the air crackled with what was coming next. The StellarWing's cabin lights dimmed, casting economy in a bluish haze as it cruised at 38,000 feet, 3 hours from New York City. In row 32, seat C, Jeremiah Tate sat rigid, his mahogany cane a steady weight across his thighs. The air stung with stale coffee and whispered judgment, passengers still buzzing from Cassandra Holt's intercom warning, row 32, a troublemaker. Eyes darted his way, sharp and suspicious, but Jeremiah kept his gaze low, tracing the eagle carved into his cane's handle. His heart thudded, not from fear but fury, banked like coals waiting for wind. Cassandra's threat of arrest loomed, her lie about misconduct tightening the noose. He'd felt the cabin turn against him, but he'd faced colder crowds. This was just another move in a game she didn't know she'd already lost. In the first-class galley, Cassandra paced, her navy blazer creased from restless energy. Her tablet glowed with X notifications, Stray mentions of tossed HorizonStar bias lingered despite her deleting Jamal Carter's video an hour ago. 500 likes on a reposted caption gnawed at her, each one a crack in her control. Her green eyes flicked to economy, zeroing in on Jeremiah's silhouette. That old man, with his worn coat and quiet stare, wasn't just a passenger. He was a spark that could ignite her ruin. She'd silenced Jamal, but the whispers hadn't stopped. Passengers scrolled phones muttering about that guy in 32. She needed to bury this now, before it grew legs. Her fingers curled, nails biting her palms. He'd been writing something earlier, she was sure. Maybe a complaint, maybe worse. That notebook, tucked in his coat, felt like a bomb she hadn't diffused. She straightened, smoothing her bun, and grabbed a clipboard, its metal clip glinting like a weapon. "Time for a security check," she muttered, voice low enough to blend with the engine's hum. She strode toward economy, heels clicking a deliberate rhythm, each step a countdown to confrontation. Maya Brooks, restocking sodas in the galley, caught her movement and froze, her braids swaying as she turned. "Cassandra?" she said, voice small. Cassandra didn't glance back. "Stay out of it, Brooks," she snapped, her tone a whip crack. Jeremiah sensed her before he saw her, a prickle at the base of his neck. The cabin's chatter dulled as Cassandra stopped at row 32, her shadow swallowing the light. "Sir," she said loud enough for heads to turn, "I need to search your bag. Routine procedure." Her smile was a mask, all teeth and no warmth. The teenager beside Jeremiah stirred, yanking out an earbud, while the knitter's needles paused. Her yarn tangling. Jeremiah looked up, his brown eyes steady, cutting through her facade. "Routine," he said, voice gravelly but firm. "You flagged me for misconduct. Now my bag's a threat?" His words hung, heavy with challenge, drawing gasps from row 31. Cassandra's smile twitched, a nerve jumping in her cheek. "Cooperation ensures safety, sir," she said, leaning closer, her perfume sharp with citrus. "Or we escalate to authorities. Your choice." The threat landed like a fist and the cabin tensed. A woman in a red sweater 2 rows back clutched her purse, whispering, "What's he hiding?" Her husband nodded, filming discreetly. Jeremiah's jaw tightened, but he nodded once, slow and deliberate. "Go ahead, ma'am," he said, reaching for his satchel under the seat. The leather creaked, its straps frayed but loyal. He slid it toward her, his grip lingering, as if handing over a piece of himself. Cassandra didn't hesitate. She snatched the bag, her fingers ripping the zipper open with a snarl of metal teeth. She upended it in the aisle, letting its contents spill like a gutted secret. A silver locket clattered to the carpet, its chain coiling like a snake. A faded photo fluttered out, showing a young Jeremiah, 25, in a pilot's uniform, grinning beside a propeller plane, the sky endless behind him. A brass key, worn smooth, bounced once, then stilled. And then, oh, sealed crimson envelope, thick and embossed with a gold crest, landed softly, its weight commanding silence. The cabin held its breath, the locket's glint catching eyes, the photo curling at its edges. Cassandra's lips curled, a mocking laugh escaping. "Cosplaying a captain?" she said, picking up the photo between 2 fingers, holding it like evidence of a lie. She waved it toward the teenager, who smirked, then dropped it back to the pile. "This junk's what you're carrying?" Her voice dripped scorn, loud enough for row 33 to crane their necks. She kicked the key aside, its brass scraping linoleum, and grabbed the crimson envelope, turning it in her hands. Its crest gleamed. HorizonStar's original seal, unknown to her, a relic of the airline's birth. Jeremiah's breath caught, his fingers twitching. "That's private," he said, voice low, urgency cracking through. "Please, leave it be." Her laugh sliced the air, sharp and cruel. "Private? Looks like trash to me," she said, holding the envelope high, letting it catch the light. "What is it, a fake deed? A love letter to first class?" Nervous chuckles rippled. Row 30's woman, the knitter, even the teenager. but others shifted uncomfortably. Maya, watching from the galley, gripped a soda can, her knuckles paling. She stepped forward, braids swinging, voice trembling. "Cassandra, maybe we don't need to." Cassandra's glare cut her off, eyes like daggers. "Back to your cart." "Brooks!" she hissed, and Maya froze, heart pounding, retreating to the shadows. Cassandra turned back, her smirk triumphant. She strode to the galley's trash chute, a narrow slot by the coffee maker, and dangled the envelope over it. "If it's so important, you'd have kept it safer," she said, locking eyes with Jeremiah. His face tightened, a rare fracture in his calm, his hands clenching the cane until his knuckles strained. "Don't," he said, voice raw, almost a plea. She let it drop. The chute snapped shut, swallowing the envelope with a dull thud. Passengers gasped, the sound sharp in the quiet. The woman in red whispered, "That's too far." But no one moved. Jeremiah's shoulders slumped, just an inch, his gaze falling to the scattered locket, the photo, the key, the envelope. HorizonStar's founding charter, proof of his ownership, was gone. Cassandra tossed the satchel back, its empty weight slapping the floor. "Clean up your mess," she said, brushing her hands as if ridding them of filth. She walked away, heels clicking victory, her blazer pristine against the cabin's glow. Jeremiah knelt slowly, his knees creaking, and gathered his things with care. The locket went into his pocket, its chain cold against his fingers. The photo, creased now, he smoothed gently, tucking it inside his coat. The key he palmed, its edges biting his skin. He slid the satchel under the seat, his movements deliberate, each item a wound he refused to show. Maya bit her lip, tears pricking as she watched from the galley. She wanted to run to him, to dig through the trash, but Cassandra's shadow lingered, her voice barking orders up front. Jeremiah settled back, cane across his lap, his face a mask again. But his eyes burned, not with defeat, but calculation, a fire stoked by loss. The cabin resumed its hum, phones buzzing, trays rattling, but the air felt heavier, charged with what she'd done. Passengers whispered, some outraged, others indifferent. The knitter resumed her work, needles clicking guiltily. The teenager scrolled X, oblivious. In row 25, Ethan Walsh, a 48-year-old businessman with salt and pepper hair, adjusted his glasses, his laptop open to a spreadsheet. He'd seen it all, Cassandra's search, the envelope's fall, Jeremiah's quiet pain. His stomach twisted, memories of his own run-ins with prejudice as a kid in Chicago flashing back. He'd stayed silent then, but not now. His phone, propped against a water bottle, had recorded everything. 2 minutes of Cassandra's cruelty, the locket's glint, Jeremiah's plea. He tapped upload, sending it to X with a caption, "HorizonStar flight attendant trashes passengers' belongings. This isn't right. Justice now." The post went live, unnoticed by Cassandra, its views ticking up. 50, then 200, then 1,000. The StellarWing's engines thrummed, a steady pulse at 38,000 feet, but the cabin crackled with unease, like static before a storm. In row 32, seat C, Jeremiah Tate sat, his mahogany cane propped against his knee, its eagle handle glinting faintly under the overhead light. The air was thick with recycled oxygen and whispered accusations. Passengers still reeling from Cassandra Holt's intercom claimed that he'd caused misconduct. His satchel, now lighter without the crimson envelope, pressed against his foot, a reminder of her last strike. Jeremiah's face stayed calm, but his pulse ticked faster, each beat measuring the tightening trap. Cassandra hadn't just humiliated him, she'd marked him, and the cabin's eyes, sharp with suspicion, told him the next blow was coming. Up front, Cassandra leaned against the first-class galley counter, her navy blazer slightly unbuttoned, revealing a sheen of sweat on her collarbone. Her tablet buzzed relentlessly. Ethan Walsh's video of her trashing Jeremiah's belongings had hit 10,000 views, comments piling up like kindling. "Shameful! HorizonStar's a disgrace." Her fingers twitched, itching to delete it. But X's algorithm was merciless, spreading the clip beyond her reach. She'd erased Jamal's post, but this one was different. Persistent, viral, a spotlight she couldn't dim. Her green eyes darted to economy, where Jeremiah sat, a speck in the dim rows, yet larger than life in her mind. He wasn't just a passenger anymore. He was a threat, his quiet defiance a fuse she needed to snip. She'd seen Ethan's post 30 minutes ago, a grainy clip of her mocking Jeremiah's photo, tossing his envelope like garbage. The cabin hadn't turned on her, yet, but whispers grew. Passengers scrolling phones, glancing back at row 32. She needed a bigger move, something to crush him before the video sparked real trouble. Her lips curled, a plan forming as she slipped a spare crew badge, gold, engraved with HorizonStar, from her pocket. It wasn't hers. She'd swiped it from a rookie last month, a petty power play. Now it was a weapon. She palmed it, her pulse steadying, and headed for economy, heels silent on the carpet, a predator stalking prey. In the galley, Maya Brooks sorted juice cartons, her braids swaying as she worked. Guilt gnawed her, sharper since Cassandra's search. An hour ago, she'd watched Jeremiah's locket spill, his plea ignored. She'd frozen then, but her resolve was hardening, each clink of cans a vow to act. She caught Cassandra's shadow, moving past, the badge glinting briefly, and her stomach dropped. "Not again," she whispered, gripping an orange juice, its chill biting her fingers. She wanted to follow, to warn Jeremiah, but Cassandra's last warning, "Stay out of it," Brooks echoed, chaining her to the cart. Still, her eyes tracked Cassandra, heart racing like a drum. Cassandra stopped at row 32, her clipboard raised like a shield. "Sir," she said, voice loud, slicing through the cabin's hum. "We're conducting a random security check. Step into the aisle." Jeremiah looked up, his brown eyes narrowing, catching the glint of intent in hers. The teenager beside him yanked out an earbud, frowning, while the knitter's needles froze, yarn sagging. "Another check?" Jeremiah said, voice low, edged with steel. "You searched my bag already, found nothing." His words were calm, but they landed like a gauntlet, drawing gasps from row 31. A man in a baseball cap muttered, "What's her deal?" Cassandra's smile was razor thin. "Policy, sir. Non-compliance means escalation." She leaned closer, her citrus perfume cloying, her eyes daring him to resist. Jeremiah held her gaze, seconds stretching, then nodded. "Fine," he said, rising slowly, cane tapping linoleum. He stepped into the aisle, satchel in hand, his frame steady despite the ache in his knees. Cassandra knelt, her fingers diving into the bag like a thief's, pulling out the locket, the photo, the brass key. Then, with a theatrical gasp, she held up the crew badge, its gold catching the light. "Well, well," she said, loud enough for row 33. "What's this doing here?" The cabin erupted. Whispers, gasps, a woman in red clutching, her phone, filming. "That's not mine," Jeremiah said, voice firm, but Cassandra cut him off. "Stolen crew credentials? That's a federal offense," she said, standing, badge raised like a trophy. Passengers turned hostile, the knitter muttering, "Thief." The teenager stared, earbud dangling, unsure. Jeremiah's jaw tightened, his mind racing. She'd planted it, clear as day, but proving it here, mid-flight, was impossible. "No, it's not mine," he said, locking eyes with her, his voice a low burn. Her smirk flickered, but she doubled down, waving the badge for all to see. Before Jeremiah could speak again, the intercom crackled, Captain Victor Slade's voice booming through the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've identified a security threat in economy. Remain seated. Crew is handling it." His tone was smooth, practiced but laced with menace, each word aimed at row 32. Passengers stiffened, phones lowering, fear replacing curiosity. A man in row 29 hissed, "Knew he was trouble." His wife nodded, clutching her purse. Jeremiah stood alone, the aisle a no man's land, Cassandra's badge gleaming like a guillotine. Maya, in the galley, dropped a juice carton, its splash staining her shoes. She wanted to scream, to expose the lie, but her feet stayed rooted, dread choking her voice. Cassandra nodded to two crewmen. burly, stone-faced, summoned from the were. "Escort him," she said, stepping back, her clipboard a prop of authority. The older crewman hesitated, brow furrowing, but the younger grabbed Jeremiah's elbow, firm but not rough. "This way, sir," he said, voice flat. Jeremiah didn't resist, his cane tapping as they steered him past gaping passengers, toward a crew closet near the lavatories, a cramped, windowless space, smelling of bleach and coffee grounds. The door shut, locking with a click, and the cabin exhaled, tension spiking higher. Inside, Jeremiah sat on a metal stool, the badge's weight a ghost in his mind. The closet's walls pressed close, 5 feet by 4, lined with cleaning supplies and a flickering bulb. His satchel rested by his feet, locket and photo safe, but the planted badge burned in his thoughts. Cassandra's game was clear. She'd framed him, turning his defiance into a crime. His fingers gripped his cane, knuckles straining, but his face stayed calm, eyes tracing the bulb's flicker. He'd faced setups before, decades ago. A rigged audit nearly stole his dreams. But this was bolder, crueler, a mid-air ambush with no witnesses to trust. Outside, Maya slipped away from the galley, her pulse hammering. She'd seen the badge's glint, too perfect, too convenient. Cassandra's lie was unraveling her, each step toward Jeremiah a rebellion against fear. She grabbed a spare phone from the crew locker, her own, not company-issued, untracked, and crept to the closet, glancing over her shoulder. The cabin buzzed with whispers, passengers distracted, Cassandra back in first class, pouring wine, with a victor's grin. Maya knocked softly, the door creaking as Jeremiah's voice answered. "Who's there?" She slid the phone through a crack, whispering, "It's me. Use it quick." Jeremiah palmed the phone, its screen warm against his skin. "Thank you," he said, voice steady, carrying weight she couldn't fathom. Maya retreated, heart pounding, juice still staining her shoes. Inside, Jeremiah texted a number from memory. "They're digging deeper. Badge plant." The reply came fast. "Hold steady. We're watching." He erased the message, slipping the phone into his coat, his mind sharpening. The contact, an ally from years past, meant leverage, but he needed time. The closet's bulb buzzed, a faint spark of hope in the dark. Back in the cabin, the crewmen returned, their faces grim. The older one uncuffed Jeremiah, muttering, "No priors found. You're clear, for now." Jeremiah stood, cane firm, thinking he'd dodged the worst. He stepped out, expecting relief, but Cassandra was waiting, her smile a venomous slash. "Not so fast," she said, voice booming for the cabin. "This man threatened my life during the search. I'm pressing charges." Gasps exploded. Row 3129, the knitter dropping her yarn. The teenager filmed, phone shaking. "Threatened?" Jeremiah said, voice rising, raw with disbelief. "I never—" "Enough!" Cassandra snapped, signaling the crewmen. They cuffed him again, tighter, metal biting his wrists. Passengers recoiled, fear overtaking doubt. The woman in red whispered, "He's dangerous." Her video now live on X, 10,000 views climbing. Slade's voice crackled again. "We're requesting an emergency landing. Authorities will handle this threat." The cabin lurched, not from turbulence but panic, phones buzzing. HorizonStar threat trending. Jeremiah's eyes met Maya's across the aisle, her face pale, hands trembling. He nodded once, a silent vow. She'd done enough. Cassandra strode, away, her heels a triumphant drumbeat, badge still in hand. She'd turned a spark into a fire, and Jeremiah was the kindling, but as she poured champagne for row 4, her tablet pinged. Ethan's video hit 20,000 views, comments raging. She set him up. Her smirk faltered, just for a second. In the closet, Jeremiah sat again, cuffs cold, the phones, weight a secret against his chest. Cassandra thought she'd won, but the game wasn't over. The plane droned, 2 hours from landing, and the trap was hers to spring, or fall into. What's driving Cassandra to these lengths, fear or something darker? If you've ever seen someone unfairly targeted, comment 1 to stand with Jeremiah's fight for truth. Like, subscribe, and join us to see justice unfold. Can Jeremiah outsmart a lie this big? Or is Cassandra's next move even worse? The StellarWing's cabin vibrated with tension, its engines a low growl at 35,000 feet, slicing through a sky bruised with dusk. In the crew closet, a 5-foot square cage of bleach fumes and flickering light, Jeremiah Tate sat cuffed, his wrists chafed red under cold metal. His mahogany cane leaned against the wall, its eagle handle dulled by shadows out of reach. The air stung with disinfectant, but the real poison was outside, where Cassandra Holt's lie pulsed. Jeremiah, a life-threatening menace. His satchel rested by his feet, the planted crew badge gone. But Maya's smuggled phone burned in his coat pocket, a lifeline he couldn't yet use. His 72-year-old frame ached, knees stiff from the stool's edge, but his eyes stayed sharp, counting seconds, waiting for the trap to shift. In first class, Cassandra swirled a glass of sparkling water, her navy blazer crisp despite the sweat beating at her temples. Her tablet, propped on the galley counter, glowed with X posts. Ethan's video now at 30,000 views. Comments, raging. She framed him. HorizonStar's corrupt. Her fingers twitched, nails digging crescents into her palm. She'd buried Jeremiah in that closet, but the cabin's whispers grew louder, passengers scrolling, eyeing her with flickers of doubt. Row4's tech CEO asked, "What's with that old guy?" His tone casual but probing. She flashed a smile, all teeth. "Just protocol, sir," she lied, pouring him more wine. But her pulse hammered. She needed a bigger plate of snuff. This out. Cassandra's plan hit like lightning. She leaned into the intercom, voice honeyed but lethal. "Ladies and gentlemen, due to a passenger's ongoing threat, we're diverting to Reno, Nevada for immediate action. Stay calm." Gasps erupted, phones lighting up. In row 28, Jamal Carter clenched his fists, his deleted video a ghost in his mind. The knitter in 32B dropped her yarn, muttering, "Dangerous?" The cabin tilted, not from turbulence but fear, her words a match to dry grass. Jeremiah in the closet heard the announcement, his jaw tightening. Diversion meant arrest, maybe worse. He palmed the phone but held off. Timing was everything. She wasn't done. Cassandra wove through economy, her heels a deliberate staccato, stopping at row 25 to lean toward Greg Tanner, a burly white passenger in a flannel shirt, his face red from 3 whiskeys. "Sir," she whispered loud enough for nearby ears, "that man in 32? We've got intel he's a fugitive. Keep an eye out." Greg's eyes widened, liquor fueling his nod. "Got it," he growled, cracking his knuckles. Cassandra moved on, planting seeds. Row 29's couple, row 30's woman in red, each whisper twisting Jeremiah into a monster. By the time she reached the galley, the cabin buzzed with her lies, passengers glaring toward the closet's locked door. Greg stood, swaying slightly, and raised his voice. "Hey, folks, they're locking up some criminal back there," he shouted, pointing to the rear. Heads turned, murmurs swelling. "Heard he's wanted for assault." The woman in red gasped, clutching her phone. A man in a baseball cap yelled, "Get him off!" The chant started soft, then roared, "Lock him up! Lock him up!" Fists pounded armrests. Trays rattled, the cabin a cauldron of mob fury. Maya Brooks, stacking cups in the galley, dropped a stack, plastic clattering. Her braids whipped as she spun, eyes wide. "They're lying," she whispered. But Cassandra's glare from across the aisle silenced her, a warning carved in green. In the closet, Jeremiah heard the chants, each one a nail in his coffin. The bulb flickered, casting jagged shadows, but his face stayed calm, mind racing. He'd faced crowds before. 1962, a march where rocks flew. But this was tighter, meaner, a metal tube with no escape. The door rattled, crewmen approaching. The older one, grizzled, uncuffed him, muttering, "Reno's close. Cops'll sort this." Jeremiah stood, cane in hand, satchel slung over his shoulder. The door swung open, and the mob's roar hit like a wave. Greg leading, eyes wild, passengers behind him, phones raised, filming chaos. The crewman flanked Jeremiah, guiding him through the aisle, his limp pronounced under the cabin's glare. Greg lunged, shoving his shoulder. "You don't belong here," he spat, whiskey on his breath. Jeremiah stumbled, cane catching his fall, pain flaring in his hip. The woman in red screamed, "He's fighting back," though he hadn't moved. The knitter hissed, "Criminal!" Her needles abandoned. Maya, trailing behind, pushed through, her voice breaking. "Stop it," she cried. But the mob drowned her, chants deafening. She reached Jeremiah, slipping his cane firmer into his grip, whispering, "I'm with you." His nod was faint, gratitude buried under resolve. On the tarmac in Reno, 90 degrees Fahrenheit baked the asphalt, heat waves shimmering as the StellarWing's door opened. Local cops waited, radios crackling, faces stern under wide-brimmed hats. The crewman handed Jeremiah over, cuffs glinting, in the sun. Greg and the mob crowded the windows, chanting fading as passengers filmed, X-posts spiking, SAG HorizonStar threat now at 50,000 views. The lead cop, a wiry man with a gray mustache, checked his tablet, frowning. "No charges listed," he said, voice gruff. "Feds got nothing. You're free, sir." He uncuffed Jeremiah, handing him his satchel. The crewman blinked, caught off guard, and stepped back. Jeremiah exhaled, the desert air dry in his lungs. Freedom tasted sharp, like biting metal, his cane steadying him against the tarmac's heat. He thought he'd dodged her trap. Cassandra's lie had crumbled, the cops unconvinced. He limped toward the terminal, Maya watching from the jet bridge, her eyes bright with relief. The mob dispersed, passengers muttering, some ashamed, others defiant. Greg slumped in his seat, whiskey gone flat. Jeremiah's heart lifted, just an inch, believing the worst was over. He'd board another flight, reach New York, finish what he'd started. That hope shattered like glass. Cassandra, in the cockpit, with Captain Slade seethed, her tablet flashing Ethan's video, now 60,000 views, comments calling for her job. "He's walking?" she hissed, voice venom. Slade, sipping coffee, smirked. Not for long. He dialed a number. Voice low. "It's me. Need a favor in Reno. Make it quick." Cassandra's eyes lit up, a plan snapping into place. She slipped a vial from her blazer, clear, unmarked, stolen from a maintenance locker, and passed it to a ground crew contact, a wiry fixer with a shaved head. "Planted," she whispered, nodding toward Jeremiah's satchel, left briefly, by the jet bridge during a luggage check. The fixer moved fast, unzipping the bag, tucking a baggie of white powder beneath the locket. Jeremiah, signing release papers 10 feet away, didn't see. The cops, distracted by paperwork, missed it too. Cassandra watched from the plane, her smile cold, triumphant. She signaled the fixer, who tipped off the lead cop. "Recheck that bag," he muttered, pointing. The cop frowned but complied, striding to Jeremiah's satchel. He opened it, froze, then held up the baggie, powder glinting like snow. "This yours?" he barked, eyes narrowing. Jeremiah's face fell, shock cracking his calm. "No," he said, voice raw. "That's not mine." The cop didn't listen. "Hands behind you," he ordered, cuffs snapping back on, tighter, biting deeper. Sirens wailed, red lights flashing across the tarmac as a squad car rolled up. Passengers gasped, filming anew, X-posts exploding. HorizonStar arrest trending. Maya clutched the jet bridge railing, tears spilling, her whisper lost. They set him up. Jeremiah's cane slipped, clattering to the asphalt, and the crewman didn't retrieve it. They dragged him to the car, his limp, stark satchel confiscated. Greg cheered from the window, fist raised, mob reignited. The car door slammed and Jeremiah sat in the back, eyes forward, the phone still hidden, his mind a fortress despite the chaos. Back in the cabin, Ethan Walsh, in row 25, uploaded another clip. Greg's shove, the mob's chants, Jeremiah's cuffing, captioned, "HorizonStar's out of control. This man's innocent. Free Tate." It hit X, views soaring, 100,000, then 1 million in 20 minutes, comments raging, "Disgusting. Justice for him." Cassandra didn't see, her tablet off, her focus on the tarmac, savoring her win. Slade chuckled, sipping coffee. "Nice touch with the powder," he said. She nodded, but unease flickered. Ethan's videos were piling up, a tide she couldn't stop. Jeremiah in the squad car felt the cuffs bite, the desert heat seeping through the window. The phone's weight pressed against his chest, a secret unspent. Cassandra thought she'd buried him. Mob, drugs, arrest. But she'd only deepened his resolve. Reno's lights faded as the car sped to the station, and Jeremiah counted the miles. 120 to downtown, 10 minutes to a cell. He'd been free, then trapped again, her lies scaling new heights. But eyes were watching. Ethan's, Maya's, the world's. The plane taxied back, passengers buzzing, and the fight was far from over. The Reno jail cell smelled of rust and despair, its 6-foot walls smeared with grime under a buzzing fluorescent strip. Jeremiah Tate sat on a concrete bench, his 72-year-old frame hunched, wrists raw from cuffs now gone. His coat, patched and creased, hung heavy. Maya's smuggled phone still tucked inside, untraceable but unused. His satchel rested by his feet, the planted drugs confiscated, his locket and photo safe but mocked in memory by Cassandra Holt's sneer. The desert heat pressed through a barred window, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, sweat beading on his brow. His cane was lost, left on the tarmac, a casualty of the mob's fury hours ago, but his eyes burned steady, tracing cracks in the floor, each one a map of survival. Cassandra's frame-up had landed him here, but he wasn't broken. Not yet. Outside, Reno's streets hummed, oblivious to the StellarWing's chaos 200 miles away, now climbing back to 38,000 feet without him. Cassandra lounged in first class, her navy blazer pristine, sipping tea as her tablet pinged. Ethan's video hit 2 million views, Jer's free Tate trending globally. She scoffed, dismissing comments like flies. She planted those drugs. HorizonStars. A sham, Captain Slade in the cockpit texted her. Keep cool, fixers on it. Her lips curled, confidence masking a flicker of dread. Jeremiah's release in Reno, cops finding no priors, had stung, but she'd buried him deeper with the powder. Still, X's roar grew, and she needed him crushed, not just caged. In a women's shelter 3 miles from the jail, Maya Brooks sat on a folding chair, her braids loose, uniform swapped for a hoodie. She'd slipped off the plane during the Reno stop, claiming a family emergency, her heart pounding with purpose. Guilt had fueled her. Cassandra's lies, the mob's chants, Jeremiah's limp as cops dragged him away. She'd kept his satchel close during the luggage check, palming his battered notebook before ground crew took it. Now, it rested in her lap, its leather cover warm, pages dense with his slanted script. She flipped it open, breath catching, at a sketch, a winged star, HorizonStar's logo drawn with precision, dated 1975. "Who are you?" she whispered, fingers tracing the ink, a clue to his fight. Maya knew visiting hours were tight, 10 minutes, no exceptions. She tucked the notebook into her bag, zipped her hoodie, and caught a bus to the jail, its engine rattling through Reno's dusk. The station loomed, gray and squat, cops milling outside. She signed in, palms sweaty, claiming she was a cousin, a lie that held under the guard's bored glance. In the visitor's room, a glass wall split them, Jeremiah's face etched with fatigue but unbowed. "You didn't have to come," he said through the phone, voice gravelly, warm. Maya slid the notebook under the partition, its edges scraping plexiglass. "Thought you'd need this," she said, eyes bright. "It's important, right?" Jeremiah's fingers closed around it, a spark flaring in his gaze. "More than you know," he said, tucking it into his coat, next to the phone. The sketch, his logo, his legacy, meant leverage, a truth Cassandra couldn't touch. "Stay safe, Maya," he added, voice low. "They're watching." She nodded, throat tight, and left, the notebook's absence a weight lifted, her rebellion sealed. Back at the shelter, she scrolled X, Ethan's video a wildfire. 3 million views. Free Tate shirts popping up online. She smiled, small but fierce, believing justice was turning. In a Reno courtroom 10 hours later, sunlight sliced through dusty blinds, 80 degrees inside despite the rattling AC. Jeremiah stood before Judge Clara Evans, 60, her gray curls tight, eyes sharp behind bifocals. The room smelled of polish and paper, a dozen spectators, reporters, locals, scribbling notes. His public defender, a nervous 28-year-old named Tim Wells, shuffled files, outmatched by the DA's sleek suit. The charge, possession, with intent, based on Cassandra's planted baggie. Jeremiah's coat hung loose, no cane to steady him, but his posture held firm, a king in rags. Ethan Walsh took the stand, flown in from Los Angeles, his salt and pepper hair neat, glasses glinting. He'd sent his video to the defense. Greg's shove, Cassandra's lies, the mob's roar, now at 4 million views. "I saw it all," he said, voice steady, facing the judge. The attendant Holt targeted him from the start. That badge? The drugs? Too convenient. His testimony played on a screen, grainy but damning. Cassandra's smirk, Jeremiah's calm. Spectators gasped, reporters typing furiously. The DA objected, citing speculation, but Judge Evans leaned forward, intrigued. "Continue," she said, pen poised. Tim presented the bag's chain of custody, riddled with gaps. No prints, no witnesses to the find. Ethan's clip showed the fixer near the satchel, a shadow in the frame. "Tampered evidence," Tim argued, voice cracking but clear. Jeremiah watched, silent, the notebook's weight grounding him. The DA faltered, her case thinning. Evans frowned, scanning reports, then banged her gavel. "Charges dismissed," she declared, voice sharp. "Evidence compromised. Mr. Tate, you're free." The room buzzed, reporters rushing out, X-posts spiking. Tate freed trending. Jeremiah exhaled, shoulders easing. The courtroom's air lighter, like spring after frost. He limped out, no cuffs, no cane, believing justice had cracked through. The sun blazed 92 degrees, Reno's streets alive with honks and dust. A clerk handed him his satchel, locket, photo, notebook safe, drugs gone. He thought of New York, his mission, the truth in those pages. Maya's risk had saved him, Ethan's voice had freed him. He hailed a cab to a motel, $100, for a night, planning to reboard a flight tomorrow. The driver, a black woman with cornrows, smiled. "Heard about you," she said. "Keep fighting." Jeremiah nodded, hope flickering, a rare warmth in his chest. That warmth died fast. Cassandra, back on the StellarWing, now landed in New York, watched X with venom. Tate freed stung like a slap. Ethan's video at 5 million. She texted Slade, "He's out? Fix it." Slade, sipping bourbon in a JFK lounge, dialed his fixer, the same wiry man from Reno. "Leak something big," he said, voice low. The fixer, for $10,000, fed a story to a tabloid hack, Jenna Cole, 35, hungry for clicks. By dusk, her article hit. Jeremiah Tate, career con man. Exposed, claiming he'd faked his ticket, scammed airlines for decades, a fraud in a fedora. No proof, just venom, but it spread like oil. 6 million hits in an hour, X accounts retweeting, knew he was shady. Reno's streets turned hostile. Jeremiah reached his motel, a sagging building off Route 95, its neon sign half lit. He checked in, room 12, smelling of mildew and cheap soap. He sat, notebook open, sketching the winged star, grounding himself. Then glass shattered. A brick crashed through his window, 5 pounds of jagged red, missing his head by inches. Slurs scrawled on it burned his eyes. "Go back, crook!" Shouts erupted outside. A mob of 20, fueled by Jenna's lies. Locals, drifters, faces twisted with hate. "Con man!" one yelled, hurling a bottle, its crash spraying shards. Another waved a phone, streaming live. Just Tate the fraud, trending. Jeremiah grabbed his satchel, heart pounding, and limped for the door, no cane to steady him. His hips screamed, old scars flaring, but he moved, instinct sharp. The mob surged, blocking the lot, fists raised, a pipe glinting in one hand. "Liar!" a woman screeched, her voice raw, spitting venom. He dodged a thrown can, its aluminum denting the wall, and slipped behind a dumpster, 30 feet from the office. Sirens wailed, distant, too slow. A man lunged, grabbing his coat, tearing a sleeve. Jeremiah stumbled, knee buckling but rolled free, breath ragged, satchel clutched tight. He reached a side street, the mob's roar fading. Sirens closer now. His chest heaved, blood trickling from a cut on his hand, glass dust in his hair. The motel glowed red in the distance, chaos reigning, but he'd escaped. Barely. His cane was gone, his room trashed, his name slandered. Cassandra's fixer had struck, her lie now a blade in the dark. He limped to a bus stop 1 mile away, satchel heavy, notebook and phone safe. The winged star burned in his mind, a vow unbroken. She'd turned the world against him, but he wasn't done. In New York, Cassandra smiled, scrolling Jenna's article, 7 million hits now. Slade texted, "Told you we'd win." But Ethan's video ticked to 6 million. Tate freed holding strong. Maya, at the shelter, saw the smear, tears falling. She knew it was lies. Jeremiah, under a flickering street lamp, caught his breath. The desert night cool at 70 degrees. His hand closed around the notebook, fingers tracing the star. They'd taken his freedom, his cane, his name, but not his fight. The bus rumbled closer and he stood, ready for the next round. The StellarWing's cabin glowed faintly, its lights dimmed to a twilight blue as it soared at 39,000 feet, slicing through a starless night toward New York City. Jeremiah Tate sat in economy row 29, seat D, his 72-year-old, frame pressed against a worn cushion, his patched coat folded tightly to hide the tear from Reno's mob. No cane steadied him now, lost to the tarmac, and his satchel, scuffed but loyal, rested under the seat, its locket, photo, and notebook.
Safer!
He'd boarded in Reno under an alias, James Carter, ticket bought with cash, his fedora swapped for a plain cap pulled low. The clerk hadn't blinked, his face just another blur in the terminal's chaos. Now, 1 hour into flight 894, his breath was steady, but his pulse ticked fast, each beat a countdown. Cassandra Holt's smear, con man, fraud, had followed him. 7 million hits online. But he was here, invisible, one step ahead. The air smelled of instant coffee and nervous sweat. Economy's rows packed tight, elbows brushing, tray tables, rattling. Jeremiah's eyes scanned the cabin, catching flickers of movement. A child doodling in row 28, a businessman snoring across the aisle. His alias held, but safety was thin, like ice over a winter creek. The motel attack 12 hours ago lingered, glass shards in his hair, slurs carved on a brick. His hand bandaged from a cut, flexed slowly, pain a dull pulse. The notebook's winged star burned in his mind, HorizonStar's truth, but using it now risked exposure. He leaned back, cap shading his eyes, playing the nobody, waiting for the game to shift. In first class, Cassandra Holt poured Merlot for a hedge funder, her navy blazer crisp, gold pins glinting under soft lights. Her smile was flawless, but her green eyes darted, restless, scanning X on her tablet. Daichu, Tate freed at 8 million views. Ethan's clips a relentless tide. The smear article, 9 million hits, held strong, but cracks showed. Comments split, some calling it lies. Tate's innocent. HorizonStar's covering up. Her fingers tightened around the bottle, knuckles paling. Jeremiah's release in Reno had rattled her, the judge's dismissal a slap she hadn't foreseen. She'd buried him with drugs, then lies, but he'd slipped free, a ghost she couldn't pin. Now Slade's text buzzed, eyes open. He's not done. Her jaw set. She'd end this, whatever it took. Maya Brooks in the economy galley, stacked napkins, her braids tied back, hands trembling. She'd rejoined the crew in Reno, claiming her emergency was resolved, but guilt gnawed her. Jeremiah's cell, his notebook, the mob's roar. She'd seen the smear online, Jenna's article painting him a crook, and it burned, a lie she knew was Cassandra's. 2 hours ago, boarding passengers, She'd spotted a familiar limp. Jeremiah, cap low, ticket as James Carter. Her heart leapt, relief mixed with dread. He was alive, fighting, but here, on her flight, she'd whispered to him at the jet bridge, "Cassandra's on board, hunting troublemakers." Her voice barely audible over the terminal's hum. He'd nodded, eyes sharp, saying, "Keep low, Maya, I've got this." Now she watched him. From 60 feet away, row 29, his cap a shield, and prayed he'd stay unseen. Cassandra didn't pray, she hunted. She'd clocked every passenger boarding, her tablet cross-referencing faces with X-posts, news clips, anything to catch Jeremiah's shadow. No match, but her gut screamed he wasn't gone. She moved through economy, heels muted on carpet, eyes sweeping rows. At 29 she paused, a prickle at her neck. Something about the man in D, cap low, coat folded. Not Tate, but close. She shook it off, filing it for later, and returned to first class, plotting. Her tablet pinged, Ethan's latest video, 10 million views. Free Tate trending harder. She needed a spark, something to burn him out. Trouble found her first. In row 22, Karen Wells, 50, with a bleach blonde bob and a leopard print scarf, scrolled X, her phone blasting Jenna's article. She'd read every word, con man, ticket scam, and believed it, her lips pursing with righteous fury. Her husband, dozing beside her, snored softly, oblivious. Karen's eyes flicked up, catching Jeremiah's profile in 29, cap, coat, black, alone. Her breath hitched, Jenna's lies clicking into place. "That's him," she muttered, heart racing. She stood, unsteady, wine from dinner loosening her tongue, and pointed. "Thief!" she screamed, voice piercing the cabin, like a siren. Head snapped up, phones raised, chaos igniting. The cabin erupted. Gasps, murmurs, a child dropping a crayon. "What's happening?" a woman in 27 whispered, filming. Jeremiah froze, his cap low, but Karen's finger stabbed toward him. "That's the con man from the news," she yelled, scarf slipping. "He stole my seat in Reno." A lie, but it landed. Passengers stirring, fear replacing boredom. Maya, in the galley, dropped a napkin stack, her pulse hammering. "No," she breathed, seeing Jeremiah's shoulders. Tense, Cassandra, alerted by the shouts, strode from first class, her smile a blade. She clocked Jeremiah, cap or not, and saw her chance, a predator smelling blood. "Calm down, ma'am," Cassandra said, reaching Karen, voice smooth, but eyes locked, on row 29. "What's the issue?" Karen, trembling, pointed again. "He's a criminal. I read it. Jeremiah Tate, scams airlines." Cassandra's lips twitched, seizing the moment. "Thank you, ma'am," she said, turning to the cabin, voice booming. "This man stole my wallet during a prior flight. He's a danger." Gasps swelled. The businessman in 28 waking, frowning. "Stole?" he muttered, scrolling X. Jeremiah stood, slow, cap still low, voice steady. "I've never touched your wallet," he said, eyes meeting hers, a challenge she didn't expect. The cabin split. Some shouted, "Arrest him!" Others hesitated, filming. Maya pushed toward 29, braids swinging, but Cassandra waved her back, eyes venomous. "Stay out, Brooks," she hissed, then signaled the intercom. Captain Slade's voice crackled, cold as steel. "Attention, passengers. For safety, we're locking cabin doors. Security issue in economy. Stay seated." Locks clicked, a mechanical thud sealing exits, trapping Jeremiah. Passengers panicked, trays slamming shut, a child crying. Karen screamed, "He'll rob us all!" Her phone live streaming, 10,000 viewers climbing. Jeremiah's hand grazed his satchel, notebook safe, but the air choked with betrayal. He saw his opening. Karen, waving her purse, hadn't noticed her ID slip, a Nevada driver's license, peeking from her scarf on the floor. Jeremiah knelt, wincing, hip flaring, and picked it up, holding it high. "Ma'am," he said, voice cutting through chaos. "This yours?" Says Karen Wells, not stolen. The cabin hushed, eyes darting. Karen froze, face paling, snatching it back. "That's mine," she stammered, scarf tangling. Passengers murmured, doubt creeping in. "He didn't take it," a teen in 26 said, filming. The businessman clapped, slow, grudging. "Nice catch," he muttered, ex-post ready. "Not a thief." Free Tate. Jeremiah stood taller, cap steady, thinking he'd turned the tide. The cabin softened, some nodding, phones lowering. Maya exhaled, 50 feet away, hope flickering. Cassandra's smile vanished, her plan cracking. Karen's lie, her own, exposed in seconds. She stepped closer, voice low, venomous. "Clever," she hissed, only Jeremiah hearing. "But you're not clear." She pivoted, kneeling by his seat, her hand flashing. A crew knife, 6 inches, serrated, slipped from her blazer, tucked under his cushion in one smooth move. She stood, shouting, "Check his seat. He's armed." The cabin exploded, screams, trays crashing, the child's sobs peaking. The businessman recoiled. "Armed?" His post deleted mid-type. The teen filmed faster, 20,000 viewers now. 2 crewmen rushed in, burly, faces grim, yanking Jeremiah back. The older one searched the seat, pulling the knife, its blade glinting like ice. "This yours?" he barked, holding it up. Jeremiah's eyes widened, shock, raw. "No," he said, voice cracking. "She put it there." Laughter broke. Karen's, the businessman's, cruel and sharp. "Terrorist!" Karen shrieked, scarf flapping, live stream hitting 30,000. Cassandra faced the cabin, voice booming. "He's a terrorist threat. Authorities will meet us at JFK." Passengers cowered, phones buzzing. HorizonStar terror trending. Slade's intercom sealed it. "FBI's waiting. Stay calm." Locks stayed tight, air suffocating. Maya clutched a tray, tears falling, knowing the knife was crew issue, Cassandra's, final play. Jeremiah stood uncuffed but cornered, satchel at his feet, notebook heavy. His alias was Ashes. She'd won this round, framing him for death. But his eyes met Maya's, a spark uncrushed. The plane droned, 1 hour from landing, and the trap tightened, hers and his. Cassandra returned to first class, pouring wine, her smile a mask, tablet off. She didn't see Dashan Free Tate hit 12 million, Ethan's clips merging with Karen's stream, splitting X. Jeremiah sat, cap low. The knife's glint burned in his mind. He'd outsmarted one lie, but this was bigger, lethal, a noose she'd tied with glee. Maya watched 50 feet away, vowing to act. The cabin buzzed, fear and doubt a tangle, and Jeremiah waited, the notebook's star his anchor. New York, a battlefield looming. The StellarWing's cabin pulsed with fear, its air taut as a bowstring at 39,000 feet, 45 minutes from New York City. In economy row 29, seat D, Jeremiah Tate stood uncuffed but cornered, his 72-year-old, frame rigid against the weight of Cassandra Holt's latest lie, a serrated crew knife planted under his seat, branding him a terrorist. His satchel rested at his feet, notebook and locket safe, but his cap still low, couldn't hide the storm in his brown eyes. The cabin's lights flickered, casting jagged shadows, while passengers gaped, phones raised, live stream spiking, 30,000 viewers, 40,000, climbing fast. His coat, torn from Reno's mob, hung heavy, Maya's hidden phone a faint warmth against his chest. Cassandra's voice echoed, "He's a threat," and the word terrorist burned, a noose tighter than Reno's cuffs or the motel's bricks. The intercom crackled, Captain Victor Slade's voice slicing through the chaos like a blade. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've confirmed a flight risk in economy. An FBI escort will meet us at JFK. Remain seated. Doors locked." His tone was ice, each syllable a nail in Jeremiah's coffin. Passengers gasped, trays slamming shut, a child's crayon rolling across row 28. Karen Wells in 22, her leopard scarf askew, shrieked, "He'll kill us!" Her live stream hitting 50,000, HorizonStar terror trending, globally. The businessman in 28 clutched his laptop, muttering, "FBI, we're done." A teen in 26 filmed, eyes wide, whispering, "This is crazy." The cabin lurched, not from turbulence but panic, a beast Cassandra had unleashed. Jeremiah's breath steadied, his mind racing despite the din. He'd Debunked Karen's wallet lie minutes ago, her ID a fleeting win. But this knife was heavier, lethal, a trap he couldn't out-talk. His hip ached, no cane to lean on, but his voice rose, low, firm. "I didn't bring that knife," he said, eyes locked on Cassandra standing 10 feet away, her navy blazer a wall of authority. Her smirk flickered, a crack in her armor, but she doubled down, waving the crewman's find, a 6-inch blade glinting like a viper's fang, for all to see. "You expect us to believe that?" she said, voice loud, theatrical, drawing nods from row 27. "You're a danger to everyone here." Panic spread like wildfire. A woman in 31 screamed, "Restrain him!" Her phone shaking, live stream at 60,000. A man in 25 stood, fists clenched, yelling, "Tie him up!" The child in 28 sobbed, mother shushing, eyes darting to Jeremiah. The crewman flanked him, burly, hesitant, the older one muttering, "Orders are orders." Maya Brooks, frozen in the galley 50 feet back, gripped a coffee pot, its heat searing her palm. She knew the knife was crew issue, seen it in lockers, Cassandra's final play. Her braids trembled, tears pricking. She'd given Jeremiah the phone. But this was a death sentence. Hope flickered, faint but sharp, from row 24. Dr. Lena Patel, 42, a cardiologist with close-cropped hair and steady hands, stood, her white coat folded neatly beside her. She'd watched the chaos unfold. Karen's scream, Cassandra's knife reveal, Jeremiah's calm, and something snapped. Her father, a cabbie, had faced slurs in Queens, and she'd sworn never to stay silent. "Wait," she said, voice cutting through shouts, firm as a scalpel. She stepped into the aisle, 5 feet from Jeremiah, ignoring Cassandra's glare. "Let me see that knife." The crewman blinked, handing it over, blade wrapped in a cloth, its serrated edge dull under scrutiny. Lena turned it, eyes narrowing, spotting a serial number etched near the hilt, HSCR 019, HorizonStar's crew stock. "This is airline property," she said, loud enough for row 26, the teen's phone catching every word. "Check. Your logs. It's not his." Gasps rippled, passengers pausing, phones lowering. The businessman in 28 nodded, typing fast, X post forming. "Doctor calls BS, or free Tate." Karen scoffed, "She's lying." But doubt crept in, her stream dipping to 55,000. The woman in 31 hesitated, whispering, "Could it be planted?" Her husband frowned, scrolling Ethan's clips, now at 12 million views. The cabin split, a fault line forming. Half rallied to Lena. Row 26's teen clapped, "She's right." A nurse in 29 said, "Check the logs," while others clung to fear. The man in 25 shouted, "He's still a threat." Fist raised, echoing Karen's cry. Jeremiah stood still, cap low, heart pounding but face unreadable. Lena's words were a lifeline, fragile but real, pulling him from the edge. He met her gaze, nodding once, gratitude silent but deep. The crewman wavered, the younger one muttering, "Logs take time." Cassandra's eyes flashed, her plan teetering. She hadn't expected a witness this bold. He thought he'd turned the tide, the cabin's roar softening, some passengers leaning his way. Lena handed the knife back, cloth tight, saying, "Verify it on landing." The teen's video hit 70,000. Tate is innocent trending alongside. HorizonStar terror. Maya exhaled, coffee pot cooling, hope sparking. She'd seen Lena's move, knew it bought Jeremiah time. The businessman tweeted, "Doctor's got guts. Maybe he's clean." Jeremiah's shoulders eased, just an inch, believing the trap might crack, the FBI might listen, New York might be his chance. Cassandra saw it too, and struck like a viper. In the first-class galley, she pulled her tablet, fingers flying, accessing a crew-only cloud drive. She'd prepared for this, a doctored video, stitched from cabin cams, showing Jeremiah threatening her during the bag search. His plea for the envelope twisted into a snarl. It was fake, pixels manipulated, but seamless. Her fixers, work for $5,000. She uploaded it to X, anonymous, captioned, "Proof. Tate's violent on HorizonStar flight. Stop the threat. It hit the platform. Views exploding. 100,000 in 10 minutes, 200,000 in 15, comments raging. Lock him up. He's a monster. The cabin shifted, phones buzzing with the new clip. The businessman's jaw dropped. His tweet paused. The teen in 26 gasped. That's him? Video looping. Jeremiah's face distorted, menacing. The nurse in 29 frowned. Doesn't look right. But doubt spread, fear reclaiming ground. Karen's stream surged back, 80,000, her voice triumphant. Told you. The woman in 31 clutched her husband. He fooled us. Lena stood firm, eyes narrowing, whispering, "It's edited." But the cabin's roar drowned her, passengers turning on Jeremiah anew. The crewman stepped closer, hands tense, ready to cuff again. Slade's intercom boomed, sealing the trap. FBI's updated. We're detaining the suspect indefinitely on landing. No risks. Screams erupted. The child's sobs peaking. Tray tables slamming. The businessman hit his laptop. The nurse looked away, guilt in her eyes. Jeremiah's breath caught. The doctored video a gut punch. He'd never snarled, never threatened, but truth bent under Cassandra's will. His hand grazed his satchel, notebook heavy, the winged star a distant vow. Maya in the galley dropped the pot, glass shattering, tears streaming. She knew it was fake, but who'd listen? The FBI's order hit X, official accounts confirming. Suspect Jeremiah Tate, indefinite hold, terrorism suspicion. Views on Cassandra's clip soared, 500,000. Comments venomous. Throw him in Gitmo. HorizonStar's a target. Jeremiah stood, uncuffed but chained by stairs, the cabin a jury, guilty before trial. Lena stepped closer, voice low. "I'll testify," she said, hand brushing his arm, steady as steel. He nodded, cap low, voice faint. "Appreciate it, Doc." But his eyes darkened. Cassandra's lie a wall he couldn't climb. Not yet. Ethan Walsh, in row 25, fought back, his phone burning with X posts. His latest clip, Lena's knife reveal, hit 15 million. Tate is innocent surging despite the fake video. He tweeted, "HorizonStar's framing an innocent man. That clip's a lie. Keep fighting. Free Tate." Views climbed, 1 million, 2 million, splitting X's tide. Half believed Cassandra, half rallied to Jeremiah. The teen shared Ethan's post. The nurse retweeted, a spark against the storm. But Cassandra's fixer lurked, planning worse. His texts to Slade buzzing. Next phase ready. The cabin buzzed, divided, a powder keg at 39,000 feet. Jeremiah sat, cap low, the knife's ghost haunting him. Lena's stand, Ethan's fight, Maya's tears. They held him up, but Cassandra's video was a tidal wave, drowning truth. The plane droned, 30 minutes from JFK, and the standoff tightened. Passengers split, fear and hope a tangle. His fingers grazed the notebook, the star, his anchor. She'd painted him a monster, but monsters could fight back. The cabin's eyes burned and he waited. New York a crucible, his next move unwritten. Is Cassandra's lie too big to break? Or is Jeremiah's truth stronger? Comment 1 if you believe he's innocent and deserves justice. Like, subscribe, and join us to see this fight unfold. What's waiting for Jeremiah on the ground? A cell, or a chance to turn the tables? The StellarWing bucked through a pocket of turbulence at 39,000 feet, its cabin rattling like a tin can in a storm, 20 minutes from New York City. In economy row 29, seat D, Jeremiah Tate gripped the armrests, his 72-year-old, frame tense, his torn coat catching on the seat's frayed edge. The planted knife, Cassandra Holt's terrorism lie, still hung over him, the cabin's air thick with fear. HorizonStar terror trending at 1 million posts. His satchel rested underfoot, notebook and locket safe. Maya's hidden phone a faint weight in his pocket. No cap shielded him now. It had slipped during the standoff, revealing his weathered face, eyes sharp despite the chaos. Passengers stared, phones raised, live streams hitting 100,000 viewers, their glares a mix of dread and rage. Jeremiah's breath was steady, but his ribs ached, a bruise from Reno's mob pulsing with each jolt. The turbulence worsened. The plane dipping, overhead bins creaking, a soda can rolling down the aisle. Screams pierced the cabin. Row 28's child clung to her mother. The businessman in 25 cursed, laptop sliding. Dr. Lena Patel in 24 braced against her seat, her cardiologist's calm fraying but intact, eyes locked. On Jeremiah, her stand against the knife still fresh. Maya Brooks, 50 feet back in the galley, clutched a tray, coffee mugs shattering, her braids whipping as the plane shook. She knew Cassandra's lie, terrorist, had fueled this panic, and her tears fell. Guilt for not acting sooner, a knot in her gut. Captain Victor Slade's voice boomed over the intercom, oily and sharp, cutting through the screams. "Folks, we're hitting rough air, but stay seated. Seems our friend in 29 brought bad luck. Curse the flight, maybe." Laughter followed, cruel, from row 22's Karen Wells, her leopard scarf a garish flag. "He's jinxing us," she yelled. Live stream soaring to 150,000, one Tate the threat spiking. The businessman snorted. Figures, his tweet half-typed. This guy's trouble. Passengers turned, eyes narrowing. Row 27's couple, the teen in 26, fear twisting into blame. Jeremiah's jaw tightened, Slade's words a match to gasoline, painting him not just a threat, but a curse. His black skin, the scapegoat for every shudder. Cassandra seized the moment, striding from first class, her navy blazer a beacon of control, heels steady despite the lurch. Her green eyes glinted, X burning in her mind. Ethan's clips at 20 million. Nas Tate is innocent, fighting her fake video, now at 3 million views. Lena's knife reveal had cracked her trap, but Slade's taunt gave her leverage. She stopped at row 25, leaning toward a burly passenger, Tom Reed, 40, with a buzz cut and a beer gut, his face flushed from gin. "That man's why. We're shaking," she whispered, loud enough for row 26. "He's dangerous, cursed or worse." Tom's eyes widened, gin fueling his nod. "I'll handle it," he growled, standing, swaying as the plane tilted. Her words spread, a virus in the cabin. Tom shouted, "He's gonna crash us!" Fist raised, veins bulging. Passengers roared. Row 27's man threw a tray, plastic cracking against Jeremiah's seat, slicing his cheek, blood trickling. "Warm! Get him!" A woman in 30 screamed, her phone live, 200,000 viewers. The teen in 26 hesitated, muttering, "This ain't right," but filmed. Torn, Karen joined in, hurling a water bottle, its thud bruising Jeremiah's shoulder. The child's sobs peaked, mother yelling, "Stop him!" The cabin became a riot, fists pounding, trays flying, a magazine smacking Jeremiah's chest, tearing, his coat further, pain flaring like fire. Lena leapt up, shoving between Jeremiah and Tom, her 5'4" frame a wall. "Back off," she shouted, voice fierce, hands raised, cardiologist's precision in her stance. Tom swung, missing, his fist grazing her arm, bruising purple. "He's cursed," he bellowed, gin breath sour. Jeremiah stood wincing, ribs screaming, trying to shield Lena. "Enough," he said, voice raw, blood dripping to his collar. The businessman filmed, 300,000 viewers. HorizonStar riot trending. Maya pushed forward, tray dropped, screaming, "He's innocent!" But Cassandra blocked her, eyes venomous. "Stay out, Brooks," she hissed, shoving Maya back, her braids tangling. Lena pulled her phone, hitting live stream, her voice steady despite the chaos. "This is Dr. Lena Patel, Flight 894, she said, camera catching Tom's rage, Jeremiah's blood, Cassandra's smirk 10 feet away. "They're attacking an innocent man, framed for terrorism. That knife was crew issue." Her stream exploded, 500,000 views in minutes, 1 million in 10, comments raging, "Protect him! HorizonStar's evil." The teen shared it. The nurse in 29 retweeted, "Dr. Tate is innocent," surging to 25 million. Passengers paused, some lowering fists, doubt creeping. Row 27's couple whispered, "Is she right?" Karen scoffed, but her stream dipped, $250,000 now. Cassandra's eyes widened. Lena's broadcast a blow she hadn't braced for. She signaled the crewman, who pushed through, grabbing Tom, pulling him back. "Calm down!" The older one barked, restraining him, gin-soaked curses fading. The plane steadied, turbulence easing, the cabin's roar softening to murmurs. Jeremiah sank to his seat, blood staining his shirt. Lena beside him, checking his cheek. 2 inches. Shallow but sharp. "You're okay," she said, voice low, tearing her scarf for a bandage, its silk cool against his skin. Maya, shaking, slipped closer, whispering, "I'm sorry," her eyes wet. Jeremiah nodded, pain dulling but resolve ironclad, the notebooks, weight grounding him. Slade's voice returned, smooth, commanding. Turbulence cleared. Riots under control thanks to our crew. Stay seated, FBI's ready. Passengers exhaled, trays stilled, but eyes stayed on Jeremiah, half pity, half fear. Lena's stream hit 2 million, X splitting. Tate is innocent versus HorizonStar riot, comments a war. He's a victim. He's a curse. Jeremiah thought he'd survived. Lena's courage, Maya's heart, turning the tide. The businessman tweeted, "Maybe he's clean. Doctor's legit." The nurse nodded, filming quietly, hope flickering. Jeremiah's ribs throbbed, but he sat taller, believing the mob's fire had burned out. New York a step closer to truth. That belief shattered like glass. In the cockpit, Slade sipped water, his buzz cut damp, a red alert flashing. Lena's stream, 3 million views. Threatening his reign, Cassandra joined him, tablet buzzing, her fake video at 4 million but losing ground. "He's still breathing," she hissed, nails biting her palm. Slade smirked, texting his fixer, "Finish it." The fixer, wired on coffee in Reno, had slipped, a wrench into the landing gear during the stop, a hairline fracture set to snap on touchdown, 2,000 pounds of pressure, enough to crash the StellarWing, silencing Jeremiah forever. His fee, $20,000, was wired, Slade's promise sealed. The plane descended, 35,000 feet, 15 minutes out, cabin lights brightening. A chime sounded. Engineers in JFK, monitoring systems, caught a gear anomaly, a vibration off by 3 hertz. "Hold landing," they radioed, voices tense, diverting to a backup runway, 1,200 feet longer, safer. The fix worked, gears locking, disaster averted, the cabin unaware, passengers sipping water, scrolling X. Slade's smirk faltered, his tablet flashing the update, but Cassandra saw her chance, storming to the intercom, voice venomous. "Emergency, update," she said, eyes locked on Jeremiah 30 feet away. "Evidence confirms passenger 29 sabotaged our gear. He's a terrorist, endangering us all." The cabin detonated, screams, phones raised, 500,000 new streams. Karen shrieked, "He tried to kill us," her video spiking to 400,000. The businessman recoiled, deleting his tweet, fear winning. The teen gasped, "No way," but filmed torn her Tate the Saboteur trending. Lena stood shouting, "That's impossible!" Her stream at 4 million, comments raging, "She's lying!" But the tide turned, passengers glaring, the nurse looking away, guilt heavy. The crewman grabbed Jeremiah, cuffs snapping, metal colder than Reno's, biting his wrists. "You're done," the older one said, dragging him to the galley, a 6-foot cage of steel in fear. Maya sobbed 50 feet back, knowing the gear was fine. Engineers had saved them, not Jeremiah's fault. Lena filmed, voice cracking, "This is a setup!" But her stream lagged, 5 million now, drowned by Dasakrar's Tate, the saboteur. The plane touched down, tires kissing tarmac, JFK's lights a blur at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. FBI agents boarded, black, vests, radios crackling, cuffing Jeremiah tighter, satchel confiscated, phone undetected. "Life sentence pending," one said, voice flat, leading him off, his limbs stark, ribs burning, blood dried on his cheek. Cassandra watched, blazer pristine, a victor's grin believing she'd won. Ethan's ex-post fought back, Lena's stream shared 6 million views. Tate is innocent holding at 30 million. Comments pleading, "Save him." But the FBI van loomed, 8 feet away, its door open, swallowing Jeremiah. Maya clutched. A mug, shattered glass at her feet, vowing to act. Lena stopped filming, tears falling, promising testimony. The cabin emptied, passengers buzzing, fear and doubt a tangle. Jeremiah gone, Cassandra's lie a mountain. The tarmac stretched, 1,200 feet, and the fight hung by a thread, his notebook star a vow unspent. The New York City jail cell reeked of mildew and metal, its 8-foot walls scarred with graffiti under a flickering bulb. Jeremiah Tate sat on a steel cot, his 72-year-old frame battered, ribs bruised from the StellarWing's riot, cheek scabbed from a Trey's slash, wrists raw from FBI cuffs. His torn coat hung loose, Maya's hidden phone still tucked inside, untracked, a faint hope. His satchel was gone, seized on landing, but his mind clung to the notebook's winged star, HorizonStar's truth, now miles away. The air was damp, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, chilling his bones, no cane to ease his limp. Outside, JFK's tarmac faded into memory, 12 hours ago, the FBI van's door slamming, Cassandra Holt's sabotage lie, terrorist, gear tamperer, locking him. Here life sentence pending. His eyes traced the cell's cracks, each a vow to fight, his heart a furnace despite the cold. Across town, in a Brooklyn diner buzzing with late-night chatter, Maya Brooks sat in a vinyl booth, her braids loose, uniform swapped for a gray sweatshirt. Her hands shook, clutching Jeremiah's battered notebook, smuggled from Reno's chaos, its leather warm, pages dense with his script. Guilt burned, his bloodied face, the knife, the mob. She'd failed him too long. Lena Patel's livestream, 6 million views, had lit a spark. Roan Tate is innocent trending at 35 million, but Cassandra's lie held strong, 7 million believing saboteur. Maya flipped the notebook, finding sketches, winged stars, contracts, dates from 1975, HorizonStar's birth. He's someone, she whispered, pulse racing, knowing this was his weapon. Lena Patel, in a nearby hotel, scrolled X on her laptop, her cardiologist's hands steady despite sleepless eyes. Her stream, calling out the knife, the riot, hit. 8 million, Ethan Walsh's clips at 25 million. Tate is innocent, a global roar. She'd vowed to testify, but Jeremiah's arrest crushed her, the FBI's life sentence a wall too high. Her phone buzzed, Maya texting, "Meet me, got something." Lena grabbed her coat, the diner 10 blocks away, 45 degrees outside, her breath fogging as she ran, heart pounding with purpose. At the booth, Maya slid the notebook over, its weight heavy. "Look," she said, opening to a sketch, a star, signed J. Tate, founder, 1975. Lena's eyes widened, fingers tracing the ink. "He owns HorizonStar?" she said, voice low, pieces clicking, his calm, the envelope, the lies. She photographed the pages, contracts, board minutes, proof of Jeremiah's stake, 90%, of the airline, hidden for decades. "This changes everything," she said, uploading to X anonymous, captioned, "Truth about Tate, HorizonStar's real boss. Tate owns Star." The post went live, views spiking, 100,000 in 10 minutes, 1 million in 20, comments exploding. "He's the founder? They framed their own CEO." Maya exhaled, tears falling, hope raw but real, believing the tide was turning. Outside the jail, protesters swarmed, 200 strong, chanting, "Free Tate," under sodium street lamps, 60 degrees now, signs waving. "Tate owns Star." Lena's leak hit 10 million. Warren Tate owns Star, trending alongside Doc Should Tate is innocent, 40 million posts. News vans parked, cameras rolling, anchors scrambling. Is Jeremiah Tate HorizonStar's secret owner? Inside, a guard, prodded by X's noise, unlocked Jeremiah's cell, face grim. "You're out," he said, handing him a paper. "No charges. Public pressure too hot." Jeremiah stood, Ribs screaming, limping to the gate, no satchel, just his coat, phone, and will. The crowd roared, 50 feet away, fists raised, a sea of support. X live streams at 15 million, comments pleading, "He's free." He stepped into the night, air sharp with diesel and sweat, believing justice had clawed through. A woman in a hijab thrust a water bottle at him, saying, "You're our hero." A teen snapped a photo, posting, "Tate walks." Tate owns Star. Jeremiah nodded, throat tight, thinking of Maya, Lena, Ethan. Their fight had cracked the cage. He limped toward a cab, $100 in his pocket, planning to reclaim his airline, the notebook's Star his guide. The crowd parted, cheers deafening. New York's skyline a promise. His empire, waiting. For a moment, freedom tasted like dawn, clean, unyielding, his mission clear. That moment shattered like ice. In a Manhattan penthouse, Cassandra Holt paced, her blazer swapped for silk, tablet blazing, Lena's leak at 20 million, when Tate owned Star at 50 million, drowning her sabotage clip, now at 8 million, fading fast. Slade, lounging on a leather couch, bourbon in hand, smirked. "He's out," he said, scrolling X, but not for long. They'd planned for this. A final blade. His fixer, paid $30,000, had forged a will, dated 2010, claiming Jeremiah sold HorizonStar to a shell company, their ally, for $1. No trace of his stake, his star erased, clean as a whistle. Cassandra texted the board, 10 suits loyal to Slade, dining at a Soho club, steak sizzling, 65 degrees inside. "Drop it now," she wrote, attaching the will, scanned, notarized, fake, but flawless. The chairman, a wiry 60-year-old, with a Rolex, nodded, emailing it to X newsrooms, the SEC. Tate's claim debunked, sold HorizonStar years ago. It hit at midnight, views soaring, 5 million in 30 minutes, 10 million by dawn, comments splitting, "He's a fraud." It's a lie. The board acted fast, freezing Jeremiah's assets, bank accounts, stocks, 90% of HorizonStar, locked in escrow, untouchable. X posts surged. Charsk Tate, the fraud revived, 15 million believing the will, drowning, Charsk Tate owns Star's cry. Jeremiah reached a Brooklyn motel, room 9, its carpet stained, air stale at 70 degrees, $30 a night. He sat, coat heavy, unaware of the will, thinking he'd won. The crowd, Lena's leak, his name cleared. A knock came. A cop, Officer Daniel Pike, 40, with a buzz cut and a sneer, badge glinting, sent for transfer verification. Pike's eyes narrowed, X's fraud posts fresh in his mind, slurs itching his tongue. "Tate, huh?" he said, stepping inside, doctor shutting, no witnesses. "Heard you conned an airline." Jeremiah stood, ribs aching, voice calm. "That's not true," he said, hands raised, sensing the shift. Pike didn't listen. "Liars like you don't walk free," he spat, racist venom spilling, a fist crashing into Jeremiah's jaw, splitting his lip, blood spraying. Jeremiah staggered, hitting the wall 10 feet back, ribs cracking, pain a white-hot scream. Pike kicked, boot slamming his thigh, bruising bone, 300 pounds of force. "Stay down, crook," he growled, grabbing Jeremiah's coat, ripping it, the phone tumbling, screen cracking. Jeremiah gasped, vision blurring, blood pooling on the carpet, 5 ounces soaking through. Pike sneered, tossing him out, dragging him to an alley 50 feet away, garbage stench thick, 45 degrees chilling his wounds. Jeremiah collapsed, gravel biting his palms, alley shadows swallowing him. Pike vanished, sirens distant, no help coming. His lips swelled, thigh throbbed, ribs stabbed with each breath, blood dripping, a trail to nowhere. The phone lay shattered. Notebook gone, satchel seized, but his mind clung to the star, faint, unbowed. Cassandra's will had turned his empire against him. Pike's fists, its executioner. X buzzed. 20 million on the forged will. Yars Tate the fraud spiking. Yarshu Tate owned Star fading to 40 million. Split. Confused. He coughed, blood flecking his hand, and whispered, "Not over." Fingers digging into gravel, finding a SIM card, ejected. Tiny, his last spark. In Manhattan, Cassandra smiled, sipping wine. The will at 30 million views. Slade texting. Boards hours. Lena, in her hotel, saw it. Tears falling, vowing to fight. Her stream at 10 million. Tate is innocent struggling. Maya, in Brooklyn, scrolled X. Notebook star haunting her, knowing she'd sparked this. Guilt heavy. Jeremiah lay in the alley, 100 feet from the motel. Stars above, the SIM card cold in his palm. They'd taken everything. Name. Empire blood, but not his will. He closed his eyes, breath shallow. New York a crucible, the fight alive. The Brooklyn alley reeked of rotting trash and diesel, its shadows swallowing Jeremiah Tate as he lay slumped against a graffiti-scarred wall, 60 degrees Fahrenheit chilling his bloodied frame. His 72-year-old body screamed. Ribs, cracked from Officer Pike's boot, lip split, thigh bruised purple, blood crusting his torn coat. The SIM card, tiny and cold, dug into his palm, salvaged from his shattered phone, a final spark after Pike's assault 3 hours ago. His satchel was gone, notebook lost, but the winged star burned in his mind. HorizonStar's truth uncrushed despite Cassandra Holt's forged will. 35 million views. Tate, the fraud drowning his name. His breath rasped, shallow. Each. Inhale a knife, but his eyes stayed sharp, tracing the alley's edge. 10 feet to a street lamp's glow. He wasn't broken, not yet. A bodega phone booth, 100 feet away, gleamed faintly, its plastic scratched, coins jingling in Jeremiah's pocket. 2 quarters, enough for one call. He crawled, gravel biting his palms, ribs stabbing, dragging himself upright, coat heavy with alley grime. The booth's door creaked, 65 degrees inside, stale with cigarette ash. He dialed a number etched in memory, fingers trembling, the SIM card tucked into his sleeve. 3 rings, then a voice. Naomi Reed, 45. Hacker turned lawyer, her tone crisp, warm. "Who's this?" she said, midnight quiet behind her. "Jeremiah," he rasped, blood flecking his lip. "Need you, Naomi. They've buried me." Naomi's breath caught, her Brooklyn loft a fortress of screens. X blazing. Tate the fraud at 40 million, Lena's leak fading at 25 million. She'd known Jeremiah decades ago, a mentor who'd funded her coding boot camp, his star, a quiet vow. "Where are you?" she asked, fingers already on her keyboard, dark curls bouncing. "Brooklyn, near Flatbush," he said, voice fading, pain clawing. "They forged a will, took my airline. Sim's got names." Naomi nodded, unseen, hacking HorizonStar's servers as he spoke, pulling Slade's texts, board emails, 30 years of dirt. "Stay put," she said. "I'm digging." Her screen lit up, Slade's bribes, $500,000 to each board member wired through shells, tied to the forged will. Cassandra's emails coded, linked the fixer, 10 million in payout since April 12, 2025. Naomi's hack streamed live, no filter, to X, captioned, "HorizonStar's corruption. Slade's bribes. Holt's lies. Tate's the real owner." Tate owned Star. Views exploded. 1 million in 5 minutes, 10 million in 20. Comments raging. "They stole his empire. Justice for Tate." Protesters swelled outside the jail, 500 now, chanting, Lena's stream reviving at 30 million. Tate is innocent surging to 50 million. Drowning Ma and Tate the fraud's venom. HorizonStar's board, dining in a Manhattan skyscraper. 70 degrees, crystal chandeliers glinting, froze as Naomi's leak hit their phones. 15 million views, emails exposed, their names in bold. The chairman, sweat beading, called an emergency vote, voice shaking. "Reinstate Tate," he said, others nodding, fear trumping greed, Slade's grip slipping. By dawn, a press release hit X, 20 million views. Jeremiah Tate, rightful owner, restored as HorizonStar chairman. Crowds roared outside the diner where Maya sat, scrolling, tears falling, her braids loose, knowing her notebook sparked this. Lena, in her hotel, punched the air, her stream at 40 million. Vowing. Testimony. Jeremiah limped from the booth, ribs searing. to a shelter 50 feet away, its door propped open, 62 degrees inside, cots smelling of bleach. A volunteer, 20 with dreadlocks, gave him water, bandages, no questions, X buzzing on her phone. Tate star at 60 million. He cleaned his lip, pain a dull roar, and caught a bus, $1 fare to Manhattan. The gala looming. HorizonStar's annual bash, 1,200 guests, 80 degrees, gold and glass. Naomi's text hit a burner she'd sent. "You're in. Walk tall." He stepped off, coat torn, no cane, face bruised but eyes blazing. A king reclaiming his throne. The gala dazzled, a Times Square hotel. Its ballroom a sea of chandeliers, 30 feet high, champagne flutes clinking, dresses shimmering. Jeremiah entered, limping, his torn coat a stark contrast to tailored suits, drawing gasps. Board members froze. Glasses mid-sip, livestream spiking. 100,000 viewers in seconds. The chairman rushed forward, Rolex glinting, voice shaky. "Mr. Tate, welcome back," he said, offering a chair, center stage, velvet cushioned, 10 feet from a podium. Jeremiah sat, ribs throbbing, blood crusted, but posture regal. The crowd, parting murmurs swelling. Is that him? He owns it all? He thought he'd won. The board's bow, Naomi's hack, the crowd's awe sealing his return. A waiter, 30, with a shaved head, offered a drink. Clear, fizzing, a gala special. Jeremiah sipped, cool on his split lip, believing the fight was done. New York his empire, the star shining. Maya, hired as waitstaff, spotted him from 20 feet, her tray trembling, braids tight, heart soaring. Lena, invited as a guest, nodded from row 5, her stream at 50 million, filming quietly, pride in her eyes. The chairman raised a toast, to Tate, our founder, and cheers erupted, 2,000 hands clapping, X hitting 150,000 live. Tate star at 70 million. Cassandra watched from a balcony, 30 feet above, her silk dress blood red, tablet dark. She'd seen Naomi's leak, 65 million views. Her will crumbling, Slade's texts exposed. Her fixer was silent, funds frozen, board turned. Jeremiah's sip was her signal. She'd slipped aconite, odorless. 2 drops in his glass, $10,000 to a rogue caterer, enough to kill in minutes. She signaled security, pointing at Maya, voice sharp. "She tampered with his drink," she shouted, guards rushing, grabbing Maya, her tray crashing, mugs shattering, 500 shards scattering. Maya screamed, "I didn't!" Braids flying, but cuffs snapped, her wrists bruised, dragged backstage 10 feet from the crowd. X livestream spiking, 200,000 now, comments raging. "What's happening?" Jeremiah swayed, glass slipping, his vision blurring, ribs no longer the pain. His heart raced, erratic, poison clawing, aconite's grip tightening, 5 beats too fast. The crowd gasped, Lena leaping up, cardiologist's instinct kicking in, shoving through. He's collapsing. Her hands checked his pulse, 120 beats, fading, sweat beading his brow, 3 ounces pooling. "Poison," she shouted, voice raw, livestream hitting 300,000. Das Tate poisoned. Trending. The chairman froze, glass dropping, crystal smashing, 5 shards glinting. Jeremiah slumped, breath shallow, eyes dimming, the star flickering, his empire a breath from dust. Naomi, in her loft, saw Lena's stream, 70 million views, and, hacked faster, pulling caterer logs, Cassandra's texts. "Spike it now." She streamed it live, captioned, "Holt's poison plot, save Tate." Tate star. Views hit 1 million in seconds, 10 million in a minute. X erupting. Holt the poisoner at 20 million. Comments screaming, "Arrest her." Flashed. Caterers. Receipt, aconite vial, Cassandra's print found in her locker, linked to the gala. 10 minutes before Jeremiah's sip, the crowd turned, head snapping to Cassandra, 30 feet up, her face paling, silk dress clinging, sweat staining red. Security shifted, eyeing her, radios crackling, 5 signals converging. Maya struggled, cuffs biting, her voice hoarse. "It's Holt!" But guards held firm, her livestream cut, 100,000 viewers lost. Lena knelt, pressing Jeremiah's chest, counting breaths. 10 per minute, fading, her hands shaking, stream at 80 million. The chairman yelled, "Medics!" But the crowd surged, blocking paths. 500 bodies, chaos reigning. Jeremiah's eyes fluttered, the star faint, aconite pulling him under. 3 minutes to death. Naomi's hack looped, Vile's image everywhere. X News live streams 90 million views. Holt the poisoner spiking. Cassandra bolted, heels slipping, 10 feet to a stairwell, but guards closed in. Radios loud, her empire crumbling. Paramedics burst through. 30 feet from Jeremiah, kit open, antidote ready. Naloxone, 1 milligram, syringe glinting, 5 seconds to inject. Lena stepped back, tears streaming, her stream at 100 million, filming medics. Jeremiah's chest, still cap gone, face bruised but regal, a king falling. The crowd hushed. 500 breaths held, X frozen, 150 million watching. Tate star fading, the Holt the poisoner roaring. Cassandra vanished backstage, guards chasing, her dress a red smear, 5 flights down, panic clawing. Jeremiah lay still, needle in, fate a coin toss, the gala a crucible. Maya cuffed, Lena filming, Naomi hacking, his star teetering, 1 breath from eternal. The Manhattan hospital room glowed sterile white, its air sharp with antiseptic, 68 degrees Fahrenheit chilling the linoleum floor. Jeremiah Tate lay on a crisp bed, his 72-year-old frame frail but alive, an IV dripping saline, steadying his pulse after the aconite's grip. His torn coat hung on a chair, bruised ribs bandaged, split lip stitched, thigh purple but healing. The gala's chaos. 3 hours ago, Cassandra Holt's poison, Maya Brooks' cuffs, faded like a fever dream. But his brown eyes burned, the winged star vivid in his mind. HorizonStar's truth unbroken. A monitor beeped, 80 beats per minute, life clawing back. Outside, New York City hummed, dawn breaking, 55 degrees, X ablaze. Holt the poisoner at 100 million views. Naomi Reed's hack a global fire, 120 million, saving him from the abyss. Doctor, Lena Patel stood by his bed, her cardiologist's hands steady, white coat creased from the night's fight. Her live stream, 110 million views, had caught the needle's plunge. Naloxone, 1 milligram, yanking Jeremiah from death's edge. 5 seconds to breathe again. "You're a fighter," she said, voice soft, checking his chart. 2 pages of miracles. Jeremiah nodded, throat dry, his whisper raw. Had to be. He saw Maya's face, cuffed, screaming innocence, and Lena's stream turning the tide. Naomi's vial proof, Cassandra's print, aconite's sting, her empire's end. His satchel was gone, but the star lived. His purpose a flame no poison could snuff. Across town in a precinct cell 10 feet by 8, Cassandra Holt slumped on a bench, her red silk dress torn, gold pins gone, blonde bun unraveling, handcuffs bit her wrists cold as her lies, the air 60 degrees reeking of rust. Captain Victor Slade sat opposite, buzz cut damp, aviators confiscated, his bourbon smirk erased. Naomi's hack, Slade's bribes, $500,000, Cassandra's texts, 10 million paid, played on a loop, precinct TVs blazing, 130 million X views, Holt the poisoner merging with Slade the traitor, 200 million posts, cops booked them, live streamed, 500,000 watching, charges piling, attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, life sentences looming, their empire ash. The arrests hit X at dawn, news anchors scrambling, 50 channels live, HorizonStars, plot exposed. Cassandra's face, pale, flashed, her plea to the fixer. Spike it. Now evidence. 150 million views. Slade's texts. Finish him. Sealed his cage. 75 million retweets. Tate star revived. 180 million. A phoenix from Taux Tate. The fraud's grave. Protesters cheered outside. 1,000 strong. Signs high. Tate's. Truth. 45 degrees. Dawn's gold glinting. Maya, freed hours ago, stood among them. Braids loose, tears dry, her notebooks spark, Winged Star, 1975. The match that lit this fire, 160 million X posts. Her livestream at 10 million vowing, "He's our king." Jeremiah rose, ribs aching. No cane, but steady. 70 degrees in the hospital hall as he limped to a press room, 50 feet away. 200 chairs, cameras rolling, 30 networks live. His coat was gone, replaced by a gray suit. Loaned, slightly big, but his posture was regal, a king unbowed. Lena walked beside, her stream off, eyes proud. Maya trailing, uniform shed, sweatshirt bold. Tate Justice. Ethan Walsh sat front row, glasses glinting, his clips at 170 million. Tate is innocent, a monument. The room hushed, 500 eyes locked, X live streams spiking, 250,000 viewers in seconds, 1 million in a minute, the world waiting. He gripped the podium, wood smooth, 10 feet from the crowd, voice gravelly but iron. "I boarded flight 894 to see what my airline had become," he said, each word a hammer, cameras flashing, 50 bulbs bright. "Not as a king, but a passenger, no name, no star, just a man with a ticket." Gasps rippled, Lena's jaw dropping, Maya's breath catching, Ethan's pen pausing, live streams hitting 5 million, hard Tate the test trending. "I wanted truth," he continued, eyes sweeping, "and found a system, my system, rotted by prejudice, built to crush folks like me, black, old, unseen." The room leaned in, 30 networks streaming, 10 million viewers, comments raging. He planned it? Genius. His voice rose, pain a distant echo. "They dragged me, framed me, poisoned me, because my skin didn't fit their first class, their boardroom, their world." He paused, ribs throbbing, but eyes fierce, the star blazing in his mind. Cassandra, Holt, Victor Slade, they weren't accidents, they were symptoms. 50 years of airline racism, doors locked, dreams grounded, lives erased. Lena nodded, tears pricking, her fight validated. Maya clutched her sweatshirt. Ethan typed, "X soaring, 20 million. Tate exposes all born." "I tested HorizonStar," Jeremiah said, "and it failed, but failure's where you start fixing." He leaned forward, suit creasing, voice a vow. "Today I launched the Tate Justice Fund, $100 million for aviation scholarships, legal aid, training, for every soul told they don't belong at 39,000 feet." Cheers erupted, 500 hands clapping, cameras zooming, 35 million X viewers, Dr. Tate Justice trending, 50 million posts. "No more shadows," he said. "No more forged wills, planted knives, poisoned glasses. Justice, public, permanent for all." Lena live-streamed again. 15 million, Maya shared. Ethan tweeted. The room a furnace of hope. 65 degrees. Sweat beating. Truth alive. The twist landed like thunder. "This flight was my mirror," he said, eyes piercing. "To show what's buried. Prejudice dressed as policy, cruelty cloaked in pins, stars stolen because of skin." The crowd gasped, 100 reporters scribbling. Live streams at 40 million, comments wild. He tricked them. Master plan. "I walked as nobody," he said, "to prove everybody matters. And now, my airline answers to truth." Lena's stream hit 50 million, Maya's post 10 million, Ethan's clip 75 million. Tate the hidden king born, 100 million. The star blazing, his test complete. Cassandra's letter came later, smuggled via a guard, 2 pages, ink smudged, begging forgiveness. "I was blind, scared, wrong." Jeremiah read it in his hospital room, 70 degrees, dawn's light fading, 30 minutes after the presser. His lips stung, ribs ached, but his hand was steady, lighting a match, 1 inch long, flame licking the paper, ash curling, 5 seconds to dust. "No pardon," he whispered, dropping it, the star brighter than her plea, his empire clean. Lena watched, silent. Maya nodded, Ethan scrolled, X quiet, 120 million, respect heavy. HorizonStar's logo changed, unveiled at noon. 50 networks live, 80 degrees outside, a winged star, gold, etched with Tate, founder, forever. Billboards rose, 12 feet high, Times Square glowing, 100,000 passers-by. X posts, spiking 150 million. Your Tate star shines trending, 200 million, a beacon for justice. The hospital released Jeremiah, ribs taped, limp eased, a new cane, ebony, silver-starred, 10 ounces, steadying his step. He walked to a car, 100 feet, Lena driving, Maya shotgun, Ethan waving, 50 protesters cheering, 60 degrees, New York alive, his throne reclaimed. The office waited, 30 floors up, glass walls, 75 degrees, a desk carved with stars, 10 years untouched. He sat, cane propped, eyes on the skyline, 12 miles wide, the star his compass. Cassandra's cell. Slade's cuffs, faded. There lies dust, attempted murder, fraud, 20 counts each, trial set, 100 million watching, justice sharp. Maya enrolled in pilot school. Lena funded clinics. Ethan wrote a book. X humming, 180 million. Tate Justice growing, 10 scholarships daily. Wings for all. Jeremiah breathed, ribs healing. The star eternal, his test a scar, a crown, a dawn. This story of Jeremiah Tate unveils raw truths about prejudice and power, lessons carved from his grueling fight at 39,000 feet. First, systemic racism thrives in silence. Cassandra Holt's lies, from seat swaps to poison, flourished because apathy let them, showing we must call out bias no matter the cost. Jeremiah's calm defiance, facing mobs and cuffs, teaches resilience isn't loud. It's steady, a quiet fire that outlasts hate, like his winged star enduring 50 years of erasure. Second, truth needs allies. Maya's notebook, Lena's stream, Ethan's posts, Naomi's hack, each a spark that turned whispers into roars, proving one voice can ignite millions, 100 million X views shifting a rigged game. Third, justice demands strategy. Jeremiah's test, posing as nobody, exposed HorizonStar's rot, a chess move that flipped a king's fall into a crown, reminding us to plan, not just rage, against wrong. Finally, legacy outlives pain. His Tate Justice Fund, $100 million strong, lifts wings for those grounded by bigotry, a star brighter than any alley's blood. These lessons hit hard. Speak, stand, strategize, build. Because prejudice, left unchecked, poisons more than one man's glass. What's your take? Can one person's fight dismantle a system? Comment 1 if you're with Jeremiah's star. Like, subscribe, and share to spread justice's spark. Thanks for joining this journey through racism stories that challenge and inspire, exposing truths we can't ignore. Here's to courage, to stars that shine through storms, wishing you strength to lift your own wings.